I vaguely know who actual fandom is. I think I might have actually been on that, maybe.
It's called Sex Bot Uprising.
No.
I don't think you have.
Any of you incel, QAnon, 4chan, Snyder Cut motherfuckers want to get on the line now?
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am Ding.
How is Dick Grayson, no matter who draws him, no matter, like, he's just the hottest. I'm not even gay, man. He's just fucking hot, right? Like, I guess just being named Dick, you're going to just carry that kind of swagger. I don't know what it is, man. He's just fucking sexy. Just saying. It's the glutes. It's the glutes, yeah. I mean, I'm not gay, but I'd be gay for Dick.
Nothing left except Spider-Man.
So we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
You want to see what Spider-Man #1 looks like?
I believe comics are our last link to an ancient way of passing on history.
The thing, is this dork made of orange rock like the rest of his body?
Here's the thing.
I'm looking for a Batman #14.
That's a very serious book.
I believe comics are a form of history that someone, somewhere felt or experienced.
How do I know that it's not a cheap reprint?
Better not be jacking off to the Japanese comics, I swear to God.
It's a superhero secret.
It's impossible. Lois can never have Superman's baby.
You can't pick a Superman #77 through the 200s.
I guarantee he blows a load like a shot and tries to get back.
They haven't even discovered your kryptonite yet.
This Kryptonian biological makeup is enhanced by Earth's yellow sun. Lois gets a tan and kick a kick right through her stomach.
Then, of course, those experiences and that history got chewed up in the commercial machine, got jazzed up, made titillating cartoon for the sale rack.
You know they're all bullshit, right?
Trust me, true believer.
I love nothing more than to be dragged out in every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
The overkill of the pride flag, the overkill of the identity politics, it's everywhere. You can't get rid of it, and the overreach is, we are so far over the line that it's not even funny anymore.
Alex, I have been a fan of yours for a long, long time. You were the expert in all conspiracies, and it was, if anything, it was entertaining.
Exactly. It's not so entertaining now that it all came true.
No.
Fucking pronouns!
The only way that you can really stop this kind of thing is to arouse public opinion. It's very upsetting. It has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
Ask yourself, what's more terrifying, fear or the frightened?
The facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire.
Bad, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves?
And the shadow is encroaching upon our own liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
Okay, so we got to figure out what's going on with this shadow of socialism. I'm starting to become concerned about socialism, guys. Socialism. That's the problem. You know, I've got that show, Comics versus Socialism. We've got this socialist, neo-socialist movement happening in the country, across the world, really. It's quite concerning. And one of the leaders of this movement is Morgan.
Whoa! I'm the leader or something? Who died and left me in charge?
Oh no. Yeah. Hey, welcome.
Welcome.
We are fapping.
We are fapping, and we got the thing in chat.
Holy shit already? Wow.
Yeah,
man.
the thing is just chomping at the bit.
Wow. I mean, you know, he got here quick from Yancey Street.
Right.
No, wait, Yancey Street is the street of the people he doesn't like.
Sometimes, because sometimes they like put it aside to like, you know,
oh yeah,
beat up people who probably have it.
Here's the thing.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah. There he is.
We got like a smorgasbord tonight. We got a whole trifecta.
Well, yeah, we'll see. You know, I may have put too much on our plate. You know, I guess I kind of felt like I wanted to talk about something else besides just Secret Empire, because I kind of talked about a lot of Secret Empire yesterday. But
sure, that's true. You did talk quite a lot of Secret Empire.
But I also wasn't like trying to keep myself on any kind of track.
Sure.
But like maybe if I had paid attention better. You know, I don't know. Turf and I did a stream this morning. Went pretty well as far as staying on a track and streamlined and no nonsense. So maybe I can keep that going. I don't know.
Yeah. Stay punched in.
Yeah. Let's hold on 1 second here. I was gonna do a thing. Not the thing, a thing.
Doing the thing, you would really need some lube for that.
What's that?
Doing the thing, you would need some lube.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how does Alicia Masters.
I was just going to ask. We got the expert in chat.
I mean, I don't know if he wants to talk about that. That's kind of personal, maybe.
That's fair. That's fair. Well,
I think we had decided, you know, based on that question that Brody asked in Mallrats on some stream the other day. I think somebody had decided that he's actually got just a regular human penis,
just tied in there like a cloaca.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, he's all orange rock, except just right there. It's just like it's
just a fleshy phallus.
It's just hilarious.
Well done.
What happened?
The thing said she goes in blind.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay.
Woo, let's go. Starting off
Excellent.
Strong today.
Excellent execution there.
Yep.
So, yeah, where did we leave off on the old Secret Empire yesterday?
Where did we leave off? Well, I wasn't here. I was sort of vaguely floating in chat. So somewhere around Ultron.
You mean Pimtron?
Pimtron, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, it definitely is a highlight of the event. That's that issue. I would say. I don't know about you.
Yeah, the Pimtron issue is my favorite issue of the 10 or 11. Well, it starts at 0 and goes to 10, right? I'm not crazy.
Yes, but there's also actually I think a free comic book day one too. So there's a lot of issues.
Yeah.
I don't know what number that is, but maybe that's 0. I'm not sure.
Right.
There's a lot. I know that they added like at least 1 issue or 2 at the end of what was originally supposed to be, I think maybe 9 or whatever. So, there's a lot.
Which is weird because the ending felt kind of rushed, but I'm sure we'll get there.
So I am curious about that because I don't feel like that is the case. But we'll get to that. Yeah, and I do have. I read back through the last 2 issues last night.
Okay, cool.
And I had a couple of, I guess, tweaks on some criticism I had yesterday.
Okay.
Just mainly that I was not giving it credit for a couple of legit, fun, good moments toward the end.
There's some good ones.
Particularly whenever AI Tony Stark has realized that he can kind of make a wish with the cosmic cube fragment. And he's like, oh, it's my birthday. And, he's like, he just goes and stands out in a field and he holds it up and he goes, I wish I was a real boy. That was fun. That's cool. Little stuff like that. And then I realized that there's actually kind of commentary on it in the lack of fun. Whenever they're fighting a Hydra there at the very end there, and it's like Captain Marvel and somebody, and one of them's like, I'm starting to feel like fun, like this is fun. And it's like I kind of forgot what that felt like.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is beating up Hydra. That's fun. This is nice. Yeah. Well, especially because the space, all the cosmic characters were fighting the Chitauri for the last who knows how long.
Yeah, and I was kind of trying to think how I felt about that as a way to, because like you got to do something with those characters to have that story happen.
Yeah.
Right, like that you can't have Hydra, Captain America, and then just Captain Marvel around.
Quasar, or even the Guardians, right? Like, oh, here's Adam Warlock, get wrecked, nerd.
Yep.
I don't know that Adam Warlock was on the Guardians at that time, but the DNA run is forever in my head, so.
True. Well, I mean, he's also been on there again since that. Like, I think during Donny Cates, maybe, or Al Ewing, maybe
one of the, he's been on and off the team because it kind of rotates, but.
Kind of like how he's on and off, like, comics.
It's true.
Sanity. He really is the kind of character that's like, where you can't have him around too much because it solves a lot of problems. But anyway, let's see how many people we got here so far. 18. Hell yeah.
Woo.
Well, hit that old subscribe button if you haven't done so, and hit the like button.
Smash subscribe.
And then I'm actually finishing up a little custom background job that I was working on. And I'm finished.
Yay! So you're putting that up.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about your experience or whatever.
So yeah, my first time reading it was for this. And the first thing I have to say, I'm going to open with a criticism because it bothered me every time she showed up. Why does Sharon Carter look like she's 70?
Because she kind of is.
Is she? She's just that old now, and I just hadn't noticed.
Don't remember does somebody remember why is it just that's her age, or is something?
Because she looks like so old. So very old. And I'm like, why are you like, I know why Steve is old. I don't know why you look old.
I mean, I can kind of look into it maybe if you want.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a reason, but that's just her age. Okay, she's just old at this point. Okay,
fair enough.
That's fair. It just like, I guess I'm used to her in like, because the last time I really read anything with her was when she, I guess spoiler alert for Civil War and Death of Captain America.
Was when she assassinated Captain America?
Yeah, when she assassinated Captain America, and she doesn't
look...
Quote,
unquote, assassinated.
That's with the time bullet. Yeah, that's the time bullet. We're not going to go there.
One day we're gonna have to have a conversation about how at pretty much the same time in the comics
they killed Batman and Captain
Batman
America.
was killed with seemingly with the what is the Omega beam or whatever.
The Omega,
but
the Omega
he
sanction.
was actually sent through time.
Yep.
There was a lot of similarities between the death of Captain America and the death of Bruce
really
Wayne.
were.
It's kind of weird, like.
But I feel like with the death of Batman, like you're fighting Darkseid, who is a god, so like weird shit happening is like, okay, that makes sense to me. Or like, okay, so you hit Captain America with a time bullet that left a body, and I don't know what's happening.
I actually think that's pretty great. I think that's like kind of perfect crazy Red Skull scheme to take his body kind of thing.
You're not wrong.
You know?
So that is like my first, like, she just looks so like withered and old in this, but I guess if she was that old and I just haven't seen her in a book in a while, that's fine, but it stood out to me.
Okay, so yeah, back to Secret Empire. Sorry, so your first time reading it.
Yeah,
she's old. Yeah, it is. It is kind of odd. It is kind of odd.
Especially because like the characters who are portrayed as like looking like her in earlier books age at comic book time, but she doesn't. So it's weird, but whatever. I thought because we got to Hydra Frank, right?
Got to what now? Sorry.
The Punisher being part of Hydra now.
Oh, I don't think we got to that. We talked about it, but we didn't get to it as I was going through the book.
Oh, okay.
But we did talk about it, so feel free.
Okay, so like that to me, of all the like nominally protagonist characters who end up working for Hydra, that one felt really fitting to me because fascism promises the easy answer. And this just lets him do that, right? And I know they put him that he's, been promised his family back, that, Steve will wish him back with the pet rock. But just the idea of someone whose solution to every problem is just to, shoot it.
Pull a trigger.
Yeah. that like there is something sort of inherently vulnerable to fascism there. And
yeah, somebody that's he's incapable apparently of just like doing the trauma work that he would need to do, which it seems like it'd be a lot for sure, but like
like guy needs some to put the time in, but
so yeah, so were the other characters that ended up being Hydra? Did you not feel as comfortable with that, or what?
Odinson was the only one that I was just like. They explained it at the end that like she hacked the hammer. She wizarded the hammer to work differently to like trick him, I guess. But it doesn't explain that till the end. So I'm just like, I don't know why you're.
Well, so that's more the hammer that was the thing, because actually he didn't have the hammer at the time. So
right, he didn't. It was Jane Foster, but she's missing.
She was sent to some other dimension, I believe.
Yeah, and then she shows up without the hammer and then immediately changes back. And it's like, oh shit. Because she's immediately dying again, as is her whole plot. Which I actually like her plot a lot. In other things, just in this, she just kind of cameos.
There was a few things that were kind of hand wave away, like I don't want to do anything with that character. I don't know, put her in some dimension somewhere or something, and like.
That's one of those characters that you can't have Thor just running around with Hydra Captain America, especially where Jane Foster, where like Odinson is more susceptible to like getting tricked by Steve-O, where I don't think Jane Foster would buy that for a second, just because she is familiar with Earth history and would be like, oh, this is a problem. It's hammer time.
Right. See, I thought the Odinson explanation, there was that one scene where he's like literally praying and he's like, I'm not sure what to do. He knows that this isn't exactly right, but he also, this is a guy that, like he says, he's of all the humans he's ever met, Steve Rogers is the guy,
Right.
Of course, at the same time, he's not new to superhero shit.
Right.
So he could very well maybe kind of theorized that, hey, this might not be the Steve that I know.
Right. Like something is wrong here. I don't know. I didn't quite care for it.
Okay.
I liked Black Widow in this a lot.
Yeah.
As like, this is why you have the Black Widow, right? Because sometimes you do need a trigger pulled, and that is the solution to your problems.
Yeah, she just as hardcore as she comes off and stuff, it's like nothing she says isn't kind of logically sound and like strategically sound, really.
Right. And you see how it, like, in a weird way, she becomes radicalized. In like I don't care who has to go down. I don't care how we do it. I don't care what the sacrifices are. 100% casualties, 100% collateral damage. We have to stop Hydra. And that she is, when the champions show up and like, okay, we want to help you. And she's like, are you sure? Because this is going to fucking suck. Like, she tries to protect them. But once they're in it, she's like, okay, you're in it. You're going to have to do this. You have to be committed. Yeah. So I liked that. I think the rest of the evil Avengers were fine. I think Taskmaster and Black Ant are pretty mercenary. Doc Ock is Doc Ock.
And like, like I said yesterday, Scarlet Witch taken over by a demon. Okay. Makes
it happens.
Vision, after reading it again this last time, I kind of realized there was a little bit more nuance with him that maybe was explored not enough.
Yeah.
In that I think he was like kind of conscious of the fact that he was under the control of a virus the whole time.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting. Like he wasn't just like Scarlet Witch, who just she wasn't there,
Right. Well, I think there's even a line in it where like she's not fighting at full power because Chthon has to use so much of his gas just to keep her contained.
Right.
So that he doesn't have to, the good guys don't have to fight full power Scarlet Witch.
Which is
a
good.
Problem. Yeah. Like the same reason you have Doctor Strange trapped into the bubble. I love the stuff with Kingpin in the bubble.
That all sets up him becoming mayor eventually, and then which sets up
where he is now.
Yeah, he's the
White King.
Him and he's trying to find his wife.
Yep.
Typhoid Mary, which is crazy. I just happened to read a old Captain America comic, I think from the late 80s the other day, and it was like Typhoid Mary was in it as like his bodyguard kind of thing at the time.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just like, wow, they were not in love yet.
No. I think she's in a Deadpool comic at some point, right? I think that's where I read something about her before, but she doesn't show up that often.
No, I mean, I knew her from like a lot of characters actually in Marvel, from the trading cards before I ever read a comic with her in it. Because that was how I became familiar with Marvel stuff. First was the trading cards from the early 90s.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, what else was there? There was the fight with Black Widow and Punisher was pretty cool.
Was really cool.
And all of this is like with an asterisk of like that art doesn't do it favors, but
no, ouch, fuck, that's messed up, PR. Fuck.
Oh my god. I mean, yeah, it actually starts to make a lot of sense whenever you read it, and
yeah,
just like
God, X-Men's so good right now. We can't talk about that. Got to stay on task.
Yeah, I can't. Whew. Well, it'd be another stream. We'd have to do that. But what the fuck? That really happened? Jesus Christ. Yeah. So what else? There was let's talk about Pimtron and that.
Let's talk Pimtron because that is, to me, the highlight of the series.
I think so too. And I had to look up yesterday, like last night. I was like, how the fuck did Pimtron happen? And then I remembered that I actually have the book it happened in.
Shut up. I had to look it up and read the wiki because I'm like, I'm sorry, what is going on here?
So in Rage of Ultron, which is actually pretty okay. Like it's a its own. It wasn't a issues. It was a literally
series,
a trade, like
cool.
a graphic novel. I'm sorry, graphic novel put out. I think it might be the first or like actual graphic novel they put out in several years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he essentially at the beginning he had decided, he's just burned out and hates himself because of Ultron and everything at that point. And he just decides, you know what, I've got this technology that basically if I do this, it's gonna kill every fucking robot, basically. Any AI that exists is gonna wipe it out,
Oh,
and
but that's like Vision and Jocasta.
Yes, so he doesn't give a shit at this point.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
And the Avengers kind of, take him to task for that, especially Vision. And
do you know who would not take him to task for that? The X-Men. They'd be like, "Great, this is fantastic. This is going to solve a lot of problems."
But like when freaking when push comes to shove, he has a change of heart and he realizes that's just him being a shithead trying to, basically do an easy answer to the Ultron problem. When he realizes, look, I'm responsible for this, and he kind of just merges with him. I don't remember exactly what the story mechanism was for that, but like they merge, and he's like, I can control him this way, at least this way. He's not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's what happens. No, it's not a mass EMP wave, actually.
Like a virus or something.
I forget. I'd have to.
Some kind
I've
of
only
signal.
read that once.
Yeah.
And it's like what's his name wrote it? I think it's Remender wrote it, and his Avengers stuff wasn't the best Avengers stuff, honestly.
He should stick to X-Force because his X-Force was really good.
True, and his was it Fear Agent? I've got the first trade of that. It's really good. Anyway, so it's yeah. That's how that happens. And so anyway, the what did you think about the characterization there?
So I liked the progression it takes, because what it reminded me of that enlightened centrism, and using Pimtron for that as like, it just makes it seem like such a deranged idea. That like, oh, we can come together and put our differences aside and just be like the Avengers of old. And here's my team of the Resistance, and here's my team of Hydra agents. And yeah, we can just put it all aside. And then he, by the end, realizes like, oh no, as crazy as I am, Steve is fucking crazier. I need to give my shard to the Resistance and smuggle them out of here.
Oh, see, that's not how I took it. I kind of took it, I mean, a little bit different. Like, it seems like at first, yeah, like I think you're spot on there. Then he basically realizes that everybody still thinks these terrible things about him.
Right, and they do. Yeah,
and because he is still a little bit Pym, he is still a little bit petty about it.
Right.
And that's why he actually, because what it doesn't tell you at that moment, but you find out later whenever they attack the Mount, that he had given Steve that technology that basically tethered AI Tony Stark in place.
Oh.
And made him tangible.
I missed that.
Yeah, it's just a quick line that Steve says whenever he shows up, and he's like, everybody else has already escaped the Mount because Odinson,
right.
let him go. And then Steve shows up and he's like, hey, and he throws this thing on him, and it just like keeps him from, transferring his consciousness anywhere. It actually makes him tangible.
Right. So Steve can beat him up. Yeah. I remember that it happened. I just missed that was something that Pym gave him. And that's such a fucking Pym thing to do too, right? Like, I want to help the good guys, but I also want to fuck Tony Stark in the ass.
Well, I mean, basically I don't think he saw either one of them as the good guys. He just wanted to kind of give them both something they needed to kind of fuck each other over, basically. Like,
that's fair.
I think he saw that and yeah, Iron Man dies again, and I think that death was pretty cool.
Yeah, good death. It was a cool moment for sure.
There's a lot of throwback to, like, literal throwback to the Civil War outcome.
With the art and the shield block and stuff. Yep. Really, really cool scene. The only thing that makes it hollow is that somewhere he's still in a coma, and that's just an AI duplicate. But everyone treats it like it's Tony Stark, right? Like there's no like you're just a robot. Everyone is like, oh, it's just Tony.
Well, as Steve says, he's like, from what I understand, for all intents and purposes, you are Tony Stark,
right?
You know, so like, and yeah, he actually says something about from most interpretations of philosophy or something like that. Some kind of comment,
right?
Yeah, and that whole thing's cool. Okay, so one of the things that and this is kind of the perfect example of what I love and is frustrating about Secret Empire at the same time, is what happens with Bruce Banner and the Hulk.
Yes, not
it's
great.
Like, it's dark, man. It's dark and it's like fucked up, but also it's kind of a cool plot point at the same time.
It's a cool moment, but I like it's thanks I hate it. Like I'm like, oh, that was really cool, but I hate everything about it.
One thing that I do like about it, I guess, is if you've read Avengers, was it No Surrender? I think it's called, which is an excellent kind of just mini run. Holy shit! If you get your hands on it, I mean, not that it's hard to get your hands on, but it's actually where Immortal Hulk debuted, where Hulk actually came back in No Surrender. So, it's just a nonstop action thing where it's like not really the A-list Avengers. You kind of get a whole lot of stuff going on with the lesser known Avengers and whatnot.
Sure.
Or the lesser utilized Avengers rather. But yeah, so the context of knowing what happens in that, which is, you know, they kind of hint at it in this where Hawkeye just freezes, you know, when he sees the Hulk. And he's just like, oh, yeah, I fucking deserve to get smashed right now.
Right. Oh, hi, Karma. Hello. I'm going to die now.
Well, because, you know, he put an arrow through Bruce's eye.
Right.
That's what he asked him to do, but he's having a hard time with it. And thankfully, that doesn't happen. Once somebody reminds him that, you know, there's civilians here, you know, and he's like, oh, yeah.
Right. I have to still do the hero thing, right? Like.
But yeah, so in the No Surrender, though, you get the actual return of the Hulk, and he, you know, he confronts Hawkeye.
Yeah, you and I are gonna chat.
And he doesn't smash him physically; he kind of just fucks with him for a while.
He smashes him emotionally.
Yeah, he kind of does. He's just like. It's where you get for your first taste of you know, kind of Devil Hulk, where he's like got a really fucking malicious streak to him, right? And he's like, he's kind of a dick, right?
Right.
He's not, and it's kind of fun. But yeah. Oh yeah, the Hulk is no good punk. Well,
That's true.
The thing does get a good moment in this with you know, that's actually what happens whenever Hawkeye thinks he's about to get smashed, and they're like,
the thing comes in.
The thing comes in. He says, "Well, look at that! It's clobbering time."
Yep. Like, yeah, that's just a fist pumping moment.
No Way Home is what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Okay. There's two of them, and I get them confused. They're basically, one's a sequel to the other one. I don't remember exactly which one's first, but both of them involve Voyager, the Avenger that has always been a founding member of the Avengers, but she's not.
Huh?
You know about that?
No,
yeah.
I don't.
It's kind of like a Sentry type situation.
Oh, okay.
I don't, you know, there's kind of a surprise to plot part thing to it, so I won't spoil it. But basically, there is the first one is about the competition between the Grandmaster. No, Road Home. Thank you. Oh shit! I hit my microphone. I thought that was weird. I thought, because I was like, No Way Home. That's the Spider-Man thing.
Isn't that a Spider-Man thing? But
no, Road Home. Yeah. It's a Grandmaster and a Collector, basically.
Oh damn!
Doing some
fuckery.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time the Thing and the Hulk fight, and there's like, when you see little orange pebbles flying off of the Thing's face, it's like, oh shit.
Shit.
That's some rough shit. Anyway, so where were we? Pimtron. There was a lot of dirty laundry aired.
Yeah, there was.
And
I think it's interesting that you have sort of like Steve-O and Tony and Pym, and
none of them are actually really the real them.
Right. None of them are the people who were aggrieved, because like this isn't that Steve, and Pym is half Ultron, and it's an AI duplicate of Tony, but they're all, no one has that thought that like, well, no one here is the responsible party.
Well,
we're all just consequences of it.
I think in Steve's case, we can probably say that he was just like strategizing the situation.
Right.
Like he was probably just playing it out to whatever he thought his advantage was.
Right.
And then, Tony probably to an extent too, but like, yeah, he didn't ever just go, oh wait, that wasn't actually me.
Right.
But I guess if you have the memories, then it was. I don't know.
It feels like you, right? Because you're an exact copy. Like, you're see-through.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting like thing to think about, that like so much of this scene is about the 60 years of baggage these characters have, but no one at the table is actually really those people. It's just fascinating. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think it's a neat.
Yeah, it's
setup.
a wrinkle.
Yeah, it's a neat wrinkle in the story, and I liked it.
So I mean, you could kind of say that, like, if a writer wanted to have that actually play out again, with you could kind of say it didn't really play out in with the real versions the first time,
right?
So I don't know. Yeah, but like Pym's trying to figure out where things went wrong, or he's talking, Pymtron rather, and it's kind of interesting reading him to try and get a read on who he is, right? Because at one point somebody says that he is essentially just Pym. I mean, Ultron now, but he's pretending to be Pym to fuck with people. But then at another point, somebody's saying that like, no, I wasn't sure till right now. You're Hank Pym,
right?
And there's still no definitive answer actually
in the story. No, I suspect that's been resolved by now because it's 6 years on, but.
I'm not sure, because I kind of feel like that was I don't know if anybody knows what's going on with Pymtron of late, or if there is a Pymtron anymore. Let me know, because I kind of feel like that was a way that Marvel decided to deal with him because of the stain. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's a stain on Hank Pym.
Well, in the book even addresses it. That like, I'm not allowed back in the club because I did this bad thing. And it's like, a bad thing. But like
for a long time though.
Right.
Okay.
And then how many Avengers have done like equally bad or worse things, and that's just forgive and forget. It's interesting because like I think he's wrong. I think Hank Pym has done a lot of bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, building a machine to like kill all of the AI. Like you like, and even just like trying to frame people for his misdeeds, and like he was involved in setting up the secret extra-dimensional prison in Civil War. Like he's done some bad shit beyond this.
But wasn't that the scroll?
Was that the scroll?
I think that was the scroll.
It might have been the scroll. I can't remember who was all a scroll and wasn't, because.
Well, I mean, I know for a fact that he was revealed to be a scroll in Secret Invasion, but he must have been. Yeah, he was switched out before Civil War and shit.
Okay, he was. So I don't.
Yeah. But so all that initiative stuff. By the way, what a stupid name.
Yeah, the initiative. Who would use that name?
Yeah, so like, but okay, so it seems like they kind of have a thing going on with Pym that they do with Frank Castle, which is that they know that this is a problematic character, and they need to handle it a certain way to kind of not, and they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, because like in the last several years he's been, they said he is officially canonically bipolar,
right?
And then
that makes sense.
Yeah, but then I don't know if that's kind of like brushing off some of his problems onto a mental health diagnosis.
Right.
Kind of feels like that a bit.
It does. It does feel like pathologizing what he's done. I also feel like in some ways that story tainted the character. And when they've had other characters do that, it hasn't stuck with them the same way.
You mean when he hit Janet?
Yeah.
See, I've never actually read it up. From what I understand, though, like he wasn't like under possessed by something or something going on with him.
Something was like he wasn't well.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the specifics were because it's been 1,000 years since I've read it. And I think there are like P.R. Deadpool mentions Earth Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon series, and Hank Pym is great in that.
Yeah.
I think how they've done him in the MCU is really good. I think at this point, I think he would be better as a supporting character. Like,
yeah, I mean, I agree, and that seems to be the best way to do it. But like, because they did definitely keep him around and kind of just they did treat it like through that whole period of the like the late 90s or 2000s, they kind of just acted like it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
He was just an Avenger. He was just like, still doing the same shit. It's like, oh yeah, that time that he beat his wife up.
Right. Like it's weird.
So Reed and Peter have both done it. I don't know where those happened. I kind of like to.
I mean, it's one of those things like, Peter's done a lot of stuff under the influence of like the Venom symbiote. And like, is that his fault? No. Because Venom's weird that way. Symbiotes are weird that way.
Well, it's like if that with that logic though, like is a someone who's an alcoholic or drunk that does it, are they not tainted with that as well?
Right. It's awkward. I think you could tell a story with him in a heroic role again.
Well, that's kind of what Rage of Ultron was in a way. It was like a tragic, heroic redemption kind of thing. Is like
right. But they've Magneto's a great example, right? Like Magneto's done some pretty genuinely awful things, but we still let him be a hero pretty regularly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of oddly more forgivable. Weird, even though he's definitely murdered people.
He's murdered a lot of the guy's got a body count.
But in the sense that, like, yeah, but then there was the Holocaust, and he's just trying to avoid that whole thing. It's like, okay, I forgive you, you
right,
goof, you big old goof.
Look, we don't talk about the Clone Saga. I forgive everyone who did anything in the Clone Saga. So bad.
Editorial was blamed for all of that.
Yeah, who? That's the other thing, right? Is like to get really meta with it. Like, Pym didn't hit someone. Pym is a character in a book that someone wrote to hit someone, and he is not a real person, and we don't need to hold him to completely real standards all the time.
Well, so the thing is that I feel like that when that was written, it wasn't a big deal. Like they didn't put a lot of thought into it, right? Then, and I don't remember who was writing at the time, but like basically, I doubt that they were thinking that, oh, this is going to be something the character's going to deal with for decades to come. But like, as let's see, I think it was it Joker said. Somebody said that they didn't address it through for a lot of years in the comics, and it's like I think what happened was the internet and social media. People started learning about it, not actually reading the comic or anything. So a lot of people just know that panel or those panels where you can see what happens with Pym and Janet, and it's like. That kind of became more. He kind of became known for that,
right?
And that's in a weird way, despite it having happened years prior. So then Marvel was like, "Well, shit! Now everybody's looking at him this way. We got to deal with this."
We can't, and you could. They're separated, right? They don't interact. They don't really, not in comics together, all that often. And when they do, it's tense, right? Like they don't get along.
I'm gonna go off on you here in a second, or right now, because like you're doing the thing that I really don't like. Like the thing that I like about as much as I like a chud being chuddy, even though it's not the same thing. They don't have that going on right now. That whole the cool with the the Wolverine and Jean Grey love affair antics. It's not a thing that's happening in any way that it has happened before.
They're in a polyamorous relationship. It's totally cool.
Wolverine and Jean and Scott, and I think maybe Emma sometimes too. I don't know.
I
with
wouldn't doubt
Scott, I think it's kind of they just have an open, non-jealous, trusting thing going on. It's healthy. But yeah, I don't know. You're talking about comics that you probably read in the 90s or something, and things are different now.
Alrighty, so speaking of comics in the 2010s, Secret Empire. So yeah, I think the Pimtron episode is the highlight of the book. I think it kind of gets predictable from there. Like everything sort of. The only real mystery is how they're going to resolve if Spider-Man's going to kill Captain America.
Yeah, which I don't know how I feel about how that played out, I guess, but I guess it really is just another cosmic cube thing.
It's another cosmic cube thing. And it could just be they kind of wrote themselves into a hole that what if Steve is evil and we know we're going to do that ahead of time and Spider-Man's going to kill him. And then it's like, do we really want to do that? Well, we've cosmic cubed the rest of this story, so fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of does. And that's why I think they really need to not use that shit very often. Because
no, the cosmic cube it's a genie in a lamp, right? Like it's a magical do anything box. And they should be sparing with it. And I think this is kind of what happens when you just use it willy-nilly is you have this story where things are kind of messy. And I think if I was to describe the whole story in a sentence, it is worse than the sum of its parts. Where there are independently good things and interesting story beats, but when you smoosh it all together in this comics run, it doesn't fit evenly, especially with the art being the way it is.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to imagine what it would be like if it had like consistent art. Like how much differently would I feel about it?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of Marvel events that are kind of all over the place, but they don't feel as disjointed as this one can feel.
And I wonder if you have it kind of feels like they're writing by the seat of their pants in a way, because this is an ambitious story. Like whatever you want to say about how it turned out, it's ambitious.
Yeah, and I don't know. Should we open the book or what should we do?
We can open the book.
All right, give me a second here. By the way, if anybody hasn't seen the image that is the background, I'm going to take us out of here for a second so you can see that. Just awesome. I had not seen that. I was looking for, Secret Empire pictures for a while, and I'm like, came across that, and I'm like, holy shit, this is literally just like I think it was a specific comic book shop's variant.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that art a lot.
It's great, and there weren't a lot of them. The thing that I don't know if we'll have not if we're going to cover the other stuff, but there's a whole lot of stuff that I kind of want to talk about with this, and maybe I'll just have to do it in future Friday episodes. But there's the meta conversation around Captain America and what he represents to who, and what's more valid and whatnot.
Mark Brooks did a bunch of the covers. I don't know if he did this one.
No, he did all the covers. I don't think that this is Mark Brooks though. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but I don't know.
He did all of the main covers. Yes.
Yeah. Normally they have other people do the variants. I will say one thing that I want to touch on when sort of just doing the broad strokes is I don't think the book does fascism as well as it could. At least within the pages of the event.
Sure.
Because I get, like, I have to sort of take into account that, like, I haven't read all the tie-ins, I haven't read all the lead up. I just read Secret Empire 0 through the end.
I guess, and when I think of it, or was thinking of it before, I was thinking of it with all of the lead up books and stuff, and that it definitely does. When Spencer had the freedom to just kind of focus on a few characters and let that play out, and he wasn't having to drive a bunch of character stories forward all the time.
Because that's one of the other, to put a pin in that, I want to finish my thought and then come back to that thought. One of the things that, like, really bothered me is that, like, in issue 0, Hydra takes over. They make, Steve-O the president of violence, and give him all the military, and Hydra takes over. Surprise! And then by issue 1, like, they've got the thing with the school, which is very 2023 Florida. But also, like, they've got, like, people graffitiing the house and stuff, and, like, ratting out their neighbors and their classmates and stuff. And I'm like, this feels really fast. And if you study how fascism works in the real world, this is a process that takes time. And it felt like...
Well, so, yeah, that is one thing that you
just throttles way up. And I'm like, well, how did we get here?
You get a sense of that in the previous Cap books, because Red Skull had been, trumping it up, basically.
Okay.
He had been fomenting anti-Inhuman sentiment for a little while.
Sure.
And doing some of that shit. And yeah, I mean, it's like you don't even see, because it wasn't even in Secret Empire that Steve-O kills him.
No,
like,
you don't see Red Skull at all. You don't.
So
there's hide nor hair nor mention.
You get, there's a mention whenever
there's the dream version. There's the Cosmic Cube version.
Well, no, then there's also when Rick Jones is laying out what happened. He says that there's just one image of Red Skull, and he's like reading to Kobik. He's basically it's when he says that he convinced her that Hydra is the best thing since Frozen.
Yeah. Okay. Oh God. 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, all right, we're good. So, but then, like, I guess with that, I wish there would have been something addressing that in the book, because it feels like, what is Hydra selling? How are they convincing people this is the right thing to do? Like, where is the enemy?
Yeah, the
because, like, the enemy is out beyond the shield, right? That's why they're like, oh yeah, the big scary threat is over there, and we've made that somebody else's problem.
Well, so the thing that they do focus on quite a bit, and I do think that this is actually really good as far as like depicting fascism, is how Steve-O was very, very focused on the corruption of the Avengers and how things, the status quo, and how just corrupt and ineffective it had become. And it's like you get that kind of talk from fascists and IRL.
You get that, yeah. That's in the book for sure. It's still like it felt very surface level, and that's sort of to bring it back to the pin I had earlier with him, the writer juggling characters. It sort of has, as a comic book, this feeling of, like, especially when it comes to like the underground and the people stuck under the dome and the people stuck out in space, where they aren't so much telling their story as giving a recap as to what they're doing in a lot of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't get a ton of characterization for any particular group outside of, like, Kingpin. I don't think anybody in space really gets any, like, good character beats.
No, not really. Yeah, you're right. The narration, the format of the narration is really weird, and like it is.
You get into the villains more, which I like, but I wish you had time to understand how the heroes are doing. especially because like when they do it right, when you get like Clint and Natasha kind of having it out over what to do and stuff, like those are really interesting character beats, and I wish there was more of that.
Yeah, that and well, I mean, you do get a sense of how they're doing. It's just a lot of the same. It's a lot of that. This is where it kind of really falls short for me. Is just like, okay, it's everything sucks. We don't have any hope. It sucks.
Right.
You know, like there's just a lot of narration about the heroes that is basically that. And it's like, yeah, we get it. It sucks. Now, you know, I get it. Now do something fun. You know, like, I know you're, you know, literally under fascist control and you're hiding for your lives and stuff, but like do something cool.
Right. Do something cool every now and again. Yeah. But we're at about an hour, so I don't know how much we wanted to dig into the book itself for reviews and get onto the other stuff and sort of wrap up our thoughts. I had one thing I wanted to touch on because I put a bunch of work into it. But
you go ahead and take the time you need. I will be silent for.
Well, I want your feedback, but
nope, can't.
No, oh, damn, shit. Well, chat, you're gonna have to fill in for Dane. That sketchy ass art. Namor looks cool.
This is actually, I think it's Lionel Francis Yu.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's some of the better art in the series. I still like the faces.
It's weird because like when he first kind of came on the scene in the mid 2000s, I did not like his art at all.
Yeah.
You know, like he was doing a lot of the New Avengers stuff, and then this is like it's marginally better, but like when in his X-Men stuff has been pretty great. Like I don't know if he like toned down some of the stuff that I don't like about it or what.
Polished up his style, or
I think he did. I think he polished up his style.
All right, so I had a thought after I was done sort of writing my little recap up for my thoughts and like how would I do this better? So we're gonna have Morgan's Monday morning quarterback Secret Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Just making little tweaks to the main book to try and like make it feel like it is more than the sum of its parts rather than less. Make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
So the first change numero uno. Let's get rid of the Chitauri. Fuck them. I don't want them. Get them out of here. We have a better cosmic bad guy for this story. The Brood. Which, for those who don't know, they are like Marvel knockoff xenomorphs, but they have the ability to infect people as hosts and like puppet parasite them for a while before they fully mutate into big xenomorph face fucky monsters.
The problem with that was at this point in continuity, the Brood were still under Bru's control. I believe.
I did not know.
No, that's not right. That's not
later.
Right.
Yeah, that was later.
My bad. Yeah, I was mixing up my timeline.
That's more recent. When he eats the king egg or whatever it is.
Well, see, the thing about that, Roboters, is that the X-Men are in this, and it's just
they are in this. They're just not in it much.
The situation with the X-Men at this point in comics for several years was not great.
No.
It was just a mess, and like, oh god. Yeah, they're kind of just dragged along for the ride.
Right, because this is the time when Marvel editorial was like, you have to use the Inhumans more than the X-Men because we don't have the movie rights, so we want to make the Inhumans big. So, but we can't get rid of them because the X-Men are some of the most popular Marvel characters as far as comic sales go. So we can't just like get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. And let's be specific. Ike Perlmutter. God damn it.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
What's the guy doing it?
We hate Ike. All right, so we have replaced the Chitauri with the Brood.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they're trying to put the shield up, and you got Tony and Riri at the beginning trying to fix the shield that we know Hydra has sabotaged by the time it's revealed, Hydra brings that shield on like 10 minutes too late, and a bunch of Brood get through and crash land in New York City. Follow me so far?
Yes.
So the space heroes are up there fighting them. The shield finally comes up. And they're fighting in New York, and then the Dark Force Dimension Dome appears over New York. And The Hydra takeover happens however it takes over. But then Steve, as the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., says, this barrier is to contain the Brood. Because we need to contain the Brood. We don't want them to get out because they're going to start infecting people. And so this is how the S.H.I.E.L.D. Hydra via S.H.I.E.L.D. institutes this whole, like, be on watch for aliens, people with sudden powers, because they're definitely Brood spies. And this is the big reveal that the Brood broke containment is Wonder Man is revealed to be a Brood, and because no one uses Wonder Man anyways for anything, so let's just use.
I'm always surprised whenever he's still around. I'm
exactly.
Like, oh, God, yeah.
That's why I thought, like, we'll use Wonder Man. That's an Avenger. So that's like the first couple issues. Now, in issue 3, it reveals that was totally Hydra infected Wonder Man and forced the change. That he's been Brood. Like, it wasn't like a natural occurrence. That was part of the plan. But, now Hydra can sort of take the main stage as like, well, we have to root out all of these, the corruption in the government is, there's all these secret Brood spies, and we're going to send them to containment centers and, lock up the infected while we try and treat them. But it's just like a forced labor camp for all the dissidents they're rounding up under the guise of fighting the Brood. And the underground is divided because they don't know the Brood isn't a problem. That's this big problem that Hydra has made out to exist isn't really there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sort of, you have that divided attention of, we have to help the populace, we have to try and stop the Brood, but also Hydra's doing Hydra things. But there is one person the heroes can trust, because he cannot be infected by the Brood. Tony Stark.
Okay. What about like Vision?
Well, Vision's controlled by Hydra.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. So of the heroes, right, of the underground, right, we can trust Steve because he can't be infected by the Brood. He's see-through. He's the ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi here.
Right.
But then as you're going about trying to find the cosmic cube, he lies that the detector is a real thing and he's just using Rick Jones's coordinates. So that he's lied to them sort of undermines his trustworthiness. And you have that like classic Marvel dichotomy of like, he's the only one we can trust, but we can't trust him completely. And this leads, because the Brood sort of tie in as a classic X-Men villain, when the X-Men won't hand over their shard, Steve's hand is kind of forced that he has to go after New Tien now. He can't just like sit by and let them do what they're going to do. He's got to play his cards. And this is when, so they go out west to go fuck up the Resistance, fuck up the Mountain, fuck up, because that's out west too, as far as I could tell. And so you've got Hydra and all their mutant tech and all their Sentinels, because of course Hydra's going to have Sentinels, attacking the X-Men and stuff, and they're blowing up the mountain with the Hulk and stuff. As that battle is going Hydra's way, Namor, who's been attacked, is like, well, fuck it. I'm Namor. I'm going to attack Washington, D.C., because fuck them. I'm going to roll on this bitch. And so he does. And this forces Steve to, like, retreat to go defend DC. But he clearly, Hydra won this battle against the Avengers and against the X-Men and stuff. And so you have the underground and the X-Men are trying to like, okay, we're going to use this chance. His attention's divided. We're going to try and regroup and recover. And one man is like, no, fuck it. We're going in. Everyone's in. And that's Magneto. Magneto is, the guy who's like, no, fuck the Nazis. We got to go do this.
As he would be.
Yep. And then, so from there, the book kind of plays out as the book plays out, because even a big hero fight at the end is a big hero fight at the end. So the two main differences is outside of the Avengers, outside of like his immediate circle of friends who see him come out of the portal when Kobach reconstitutes, Cap from her memories and he beats up Steve-O. No one really believes Steve isn't Hydra outside of that immediate circle, because he, you can't just go back and forth on that. So Steve becomes Nomad again, because he can't be Captain America, right? Like, no one's going to believe that he's the red, white, and blue all-American good guy when he's just been working with Hydra this whole time, and that he sold all these lies to everyone. Because by the end, it's going to come out that everything was bullshit. So you have to divide Steve Rogers and Captain America once again at a time, I think, where it makes sense to do so. And that leaves room for Sam Wilson to be Captain America still, of course. And then, instead of the scene where everyone goes over to Vomit Guy's house to like clean up the mess, like there a couple panels of like, wow, I'm a pretty shitty person, I sold out my neighbors, instead of just like, oh yeah, everything's better now, like some people having to grapple with what they've done and like, move on and do better the next time, but like actually have that like moment of, I have to own this.
Yeah.
And that's Morgan's very brief Secret Empire.
Okay. I see a lot of good in it. I also see how it would kind of undermine a couple of the things I did like about Secret Empire. Like,
that's fair.
Hydra getting the dome up 10 minutes too late is a knock against Steve Rogers as a strategist.
Well, I think the idea is that the dome gets up 10 minutes too late because he wanted it to. He wanted the brood to like land, but just a little.
I see. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. I was trying to, Sandman had reminded me about Tom Brevoort's Substack, and I'm trying to, I'm looking at it. I just am not able to make sense of where to go to find anything. Like, there's a lot of posts that mention Secret Empire, and yeah, I should have taken time to look at that, but
yeah, like I definitely see why this is a divisive book, having read it, but I think it's not bad. Just it has issues.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's probably the most divisive Marvel event ever, probably. And not just like, because there's Marvel events that are like divisive because of what happens in the story, and it's just like, that's it. But this is divisive for more than just that,
Right. And it's not even like divisive because it's bad. It's divisive because it's got issues. Yeah.
Well, so I'm looking at a Bleeding Cool article that from right after the last issue came out. So there was a stream or something with Brevoort, Spencer, and Alana Smith. Excuse me. So Brevoort said on the ending, it turns out the reason Cap was this way had to do with some shenanigans by the Cosmic Cube. Two guys punched and hit one another until good Cap came out on top of bad Cap. Wow. Man, that's some great storytelling right there.
That sums it up briefly.
So yeah, okay. So it starts to get into the last couple of issues here, and which we might as well do, because that's where generally the reason that I had such fond memories of it is because I do mostly like how it wraps up.
Yeah, I think for the most part.
And let me just go ahead and get to something here in the book real quick.
I also like Dream Steve.
Yeah, I liked all that.
Yeah.
The first time I read it, I was really confused by it, to be honest.
It's disorienting, and I think that's kind of the purpose. It's kind of supposed to be confusing.
And that's another example of the art being different, which would have been fine. Like, this is a great idea if the rest of the art like had been consistent. But like, you got Red Skull showing up here looking like a boss and shit. Like, what the hell is happening?
That's so wild.
Yeah. You know, and he thinks they're in hell. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So let me see where we're going here. Oh, and then turns out Scott Lang had betrayed the team.
Yep. Which was pretty telegraphed. Like, you're gonna break operational security to text your daughter. Like, okay, so you're texting the bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Here's that moment just to get a glimpse of it.
Time.
Yep. There's Clint making peace with his death, and then here's the thing.
Yeah, here's the thing.
And then here's the thing. Here's the thing's fucking rocks flying off his face.
Yeah, he's getting his rocks knocked off.
I mean, you can call him Hydra Cap, but I think Stevel is objectively best.
Stevel is the best. Captain Hydra.
It's also the one Rocket Raccoon names him.
Yep, and we know Rocket Raccoon has the best names.
He comes up with good names. So yeah, then you get the whole thing with Mosaic, that was weird and random. It's like that's one of those things. It's like,
yeah,
it's built up to be a big thing, and then it happens, and it's like,
then it's not.
You know, like, okay.
There's a lot of false starts and false, like,
yes,
it dead ends in some weird places.
And I think that was intentional for the most part, right? But like, it just didn't. It kind of has a vibe to it of like, what is the point? After a while, okay. So all the shit I've talked about the art, this one right here, pretty good. This whole exchange.
Yeah, I wish the only thing I dislike about it is like the color blocking, where like it's like tinted white, tinted red, tinted, like it's just like pick two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit too busy for sure.
It's very busy. Fortunately, one thing I like about reading it on Marvel Unlimited is that you can have the whole page, and when they do a spread, you can have the whole spread without the fold in it.
Yep,
I really like that.
I like it too. I mean, I do it on Kindle, but yeah. Then you get this. That's pretty cool, I think. She's just like, stabs him through the fucking legs. And then here's the big moment happens. The moment that Miles has been waiting for.
Right.
I do love the moment at the beginning of the series whenever he first steps out, Stevel, and they realize, oh shit. And he's like, everybody's like kind of coming to terms with it, but Miles is like, oh, this explains a lot on my part.
Right. Oh, good. Oh, good. He's a Nazi.
Like, I had no idea why I would have killed Captain America. Now it makes sense.
Now that makes a lot of sense, actually.
And then, so I don't remember what happened with that because, Jacob said she dies, and it seems like she does, but then
they have a funeral.
But at the end of the next issue, it seems like she's not dead. Or the last issue, right? Like you see, what is it? Bucky? Is it Bucky? I think. Yeah, that's she dies.
I'm pretty sure she's died. She dies and she stays dead. I don't know that she comes back right away.
No, but I mean, there was some kind of thing that happens in the issue that,
I'd have to grab my iPad and crack it open and flip through.
Well, we'll get
and that
there,
sounds like great radio.
That's true. Yeah. That's goes to show that even though he was Stevel at the time, there's still a large chunk of actual Steve in there,
right?
Because of the way he responds to seeing that vision when everybody else is freaked out, and Stevel's like, "Hey, it's cool. We'll figure it out, dude. We got it. We're working on it."
I guess the current Black Widow is a clone, according to Sandman.
Oh, okay. I guess that's one way to do it.
Then again, the other day I realized that the current Spider-Man isn't actually the real isn't the real Peter Parker.
Yeah, that kind of fucked my brain up a little bit. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yes.
But I mean, this is the Captain America now is not actually the original Captain America.
Right, he's a duplicate too.
Stevel is the original body.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The original chassis.
It's weird.
Yeah. That's very comic booky, right? Stevel Knievel. Good work, McCloud.
And I can see some people being hung up on something like that, I guess. I don't think it's really valid or worth the effort to be hung up on it, but I could see some people feeling like that's I don't know, some kind of whole thing.
Yeah, like it's weird.
But yeah, so this is just kind of an awkward moment. Plus, the art does not do it any favors trying to figure out what the fuck is happening.
It is not an action shot, right? Like, it doesn't look like an action shot. I don't believe he's hitting her that hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe they should have put some mashed potatoes there. Because like whenever there's an explosion in this art style, it just looks like a big pile of mashed potatoes.
It does.
There's like no kinetic feel to it or anything. Look, Miles is running here, but I don't feel it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, the motion in this art it adds to that recap feel I have, where like everything feels like it's a recap. It's telling me what's happened, not what's happening.
Yeah. So Miles beats the shit out of Captain America.
Very cathartic.
You know, Miles. Keep in mind, Miles hadn't been in the 616 probably even
that long.
Quite a year and a half, maybe at this point or something. Like,
I've been in this universe for 18 months, and now I'm going to kill fucking Captain America.
Yeah. But I think maybe Cap lets this happen a bit, too, or maybe
possible.
He's kind of despondent from having killed Natasha. I don't know. Oh, of course they had to fix that.
Oh, well, there you go. They were both clones. Okay.
All right. So then, at this point, the end game starts getting set up here. Sharon nearly gets him, almost got him, or got him a little bit.
Yeah.
Not enough. This next issue is one of my favorites because, for one, the art feels like comic book art.
Yeah. And it fits the whole, like, weird dreaminess of those sequences, too.
You know, one thing I don't love about, like, this right here is, like, he just looks like some skinny dude in a Captain America costume.
Yeah.
I know
it's not really emotive.
Well, and the style is more realistic in terms of like the body shapes and proportions and stuff, so like a real person. But like it just looks, I don't know, he looks like a wimpy guy right here.
You're not wrong.
It's supposed to be a cool epic shot, and it's just kind of like someone pretending to do a cool epic shot.
You know who I'm gonna give my like worst character in this award to though? It's fucking Quicksilver. Does he do anything?
Yeah, he runs around and complains that he can't get Wanda
sister back. Yeah, like you are motherfucking Quicksilver. Don't just do something. Stand there.
So Michael, this is Andrea. I think it is Sorrentino, who does I think at least half of it. The art. He does a larger percentage than anybody else in the comic. There's, yeah. So yeah, this is more like it. It's a fun issue, comparatively.
Yeah.
You know, you got Tony who's dealing with birthday stuff. You got Cap giving a fucking fascist going to war speech.
We're doing war.
You get some X-Men doing some shit. That's always good. However brief.
Yep.
Don't you blink and you miss Angel and Ileana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Beast. He's not dressed in his statesman finest.
Yeah, he's not Dapper Beast anymore.
That was pretty. I like that. I
like that outfit. Yeah, the last time Beast was likable in a Marvel comic book.
Well, but you actually do start to see little hints of how
Right.
he becomes in this, because he's keeping state secrets and shit, and
Yep.
like doing some shady stuff in order to maintain this mutant nation.
Like reading this, because I've read the more recent X-Force before I read this, and I'm like, oh, you see the hints of it. Yeah, a lot of modern X-Men is really seated in this book, which is interesting.
Maybe because it's like the last time that anybody had, kind of, I don't know, the balls to do something kind of challenging, even though there wasn't much in of them. The things that was happening was kind of, game changey, even though it just got kind of shifted back to the status quo. You think that this beast is infected by the Sublime? I don't think so. I think that there's always been a side of Beast that is a little bit sketchy.
Well, you even see that with like when Beast brings the original 5 back to the future.
There's that.
And like even young Beast is like, because he can't figure out how modern science works because he doesn't have the time to figure it out. Like he's like, I'll just fucking cheat and use magic.
I mean, there's some stuff from earlier on, like in the period whenever he was with the Avengers. There's some stuff going on. Like he just has always kind of had a bit of a wild streak to him, where he's like, if he decides he wants to do something, he's going to do it. And then you think about Dark Beast from Age of Apocalypse.
Age of Apocalypse.
Genetically the same guy, right? Like, so it just goes to show that it's conditionally Beast. Hank McCoy can do some shit. You know what I mean? Like, depending on the conditions that he's put into. Yeah, it's self-loathing is probably a good bit of why he does what he does.
Yeah.
And self-loathing leads to him wanting to, he feels guilty a lot. He feels guilty for the state of the mutants. And then he's like, oh, we got this one chance with Krakoa. I'm going to do whatever I have to do, even if that includes taking clones of myself into the future and planting them or whatever, or planting them in underneath the, I don't know, the Colosseum, so that I can get them 100 years from now and have a new body. Like, he gets nuts. He does some nuts shit.
I mean, I think Nightcrawler is still a wanted fugitive, but there is that new Spider-Man I keep hearing about, the Uncanny Spider-Man. Definitely no relation to Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I'm interested in him. I'd like to see what happens with them because, like maybe they'll meet because they both kind of have this tail thing going on.
Yeah.
I think they might have almost the same number of fingers and toes. I forget.
That's weird. That's a coinky dink.
Faustus totally fucking mind controls like half of Wakanda.
Yeah, because Faustus gonna Faustus.
That's what he do. Zemo taking a lot of joy in the conquering temporarily of T'Challa.
Do you know what I do like about Faustus though?
What's up?
Guy does not bother with a costume. I respect that.
No, he just why would he? He's a respected, I don't know, medical practitioner or something.
Sure, yeah, he's
yeah, I remember thinking he was pretty creepy back in Civil War times.
Oh, yeah.
And, post that and with Sharon back then, and she actually does get a little bit of gives him some comeuppance here. Yeah, and then you get another speech.
Speech.
Pretty okay speech from Sam. It's all right.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then they go do some avenging and shit.
They avenge. They assemble and then they avenge.
They show up to save all these Inhumans that are being processed or whatever, and turns out those Inhumans don't need their fucking help.
And who's that guy on the left there? There's Wonder Man.
There he is, blinking. He's like, I'm here too. Oh,
I'm here too.
The panel changed already. Damn it.
Yep, you will never see me again.
What is? Yeah, we don't have time to get into that, but
we do not. No.
I remember when I first was reading Avengers, as a kid, it seemed like Wonder Man was more important than he's become, I guess.
I think so. Even like post Civil War, Wonder Man was still kind of a thing.
Yeah. Oh, here's Barf saving the day.
Yep.
And I mean, they do lampshade it with Tony commenting on it, right? Like, he's like, I'm so excited to be here for the most ridiculous thing ever, as he rolls his eyes. But
yep.
Yep, pukes up a cosmic cube fragment. That's cool.
I wish I could do that. Puke up cosmic cube fragments. Just like, excuse me. Hey, wishing rock.
All right, so yeah, that's the moment I liked with the little kid and the cake and stuff. I would want to be a real boy. Dang it.
Again, that's like there's some great moments in this book.
I wish there was a lot more of that.
I wish, yeah. Just every so often it needs some humor.
You know, but I guess it kind of does make sense to a degree that they didn't have any hope until recently. And then once they have a little bit of hope, then they can kind of let themselves
let it come back, yeah.
Yeah. Well then Bucky. Hey, look, it's Bucky. He wasn't dead. He did not get killed on a rocket the same way that he was believed to have been killed years ago.
The first time, yeah.
That's a good ass Mark Brooks right there.
It's a very good Mark Brooks.
Like the way the wings are, you know, everybody's in the wings.
Everybody's in them, yep. I like how the one X-Men character is Emma Frost. Or no, that's Cloak and Dagger. I'm sorry, I said corrected.
Easy mistake to make.
Easy mistake, yeah. Blonde white lady, white costume, very tight.
The way that you know that it's not Emma is like she's like pretty covered up.
Right,
like,
you can't see her belly.
Not a whole lot of flesh showing. Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's another one with pretty good art. It's pretty solid, comparatively anyway. Okay, so fucking Sam Wilson literally says thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
Like I get it, you know, it's of course even just 6 years ago it was still already a thing that I was tired of it. Like, God, 6 years later, how many mass shootings have we heard that for? You know,
it has aged like milk.
Right. Just like what is going on with this? Okay,
it's so bad.
I take it back.
It's so bad.
It's like Carol gets drawn some fugly ways in this whole event. In the beginning issues where she's like, you know, outside getting trapped outside the dome, and then this, it's like, oh man, Brie Larson, needs to be their model, I guess, for
right. Like as soon as like the Iron Man movie hit really big and they started drawing Tony to look like Robert Downey Jr. almost like within a month or two, that needs to, guys.
Well, because it was actually Fraction's run on Iron Man that started right at the same time that the movie came out.
Yeah,
the first movie.
That's such a great run where he like has to go and destroy all of his suits and stuff.
The 5 Nightmares.
Yep.
Was the title of that arc where he has these 5 nightmares that he has, this like terrifying scenarios. And then the art switches like mid-book.
Mid-book, ladies and gentlemen. Here's one art.
This can't be intentional. This has to be because of a rush deadline.
It has to be.
That's crazy. Rocket looks kind of cool here.
Yeah. Well, even look like the second panel on the left page or the right page. They're just standing on nothing.
True. Well, they're standing on the next panels.
Oh. Well, no, but like the little scientists back there, little duders.
Oh yeah.
They're just standing on space.
Cool. Yeah, it does seem like it might be unfinished. Yeah.
It does not seem very finished.
And then I don't know. Yeah. Now the more I look at it, the more I kind of like what's going on in this panel. Like
I don't know.
I get the action lines in this one, but like for putting on his goggles, do you get those kind of action lines?
It reminds me of like an old Birdman cartoon.
Yeah. Rocket's got a bomb. He wants to do a bomb.
It's Rocket gonna bomb
Doctor Strange has made a deal with these librarian dudes
for the Sanctum Sanctorum.
weird detail, but okay.
Okay, it's funny.
Yeah, then there's this one last time that they fucking that Nick Spencer does it to you, where you're like, all right, hell yeah, they're doing it. They got it. You know, he's got the cosmic cube for him, and he's got to go up there and make a wish, and everything's gonna come out okay, and then, wow. Kind of deceptive though, because whenever
incredibly
he spoiler, he doesn't die.
No,
but when he comes up out of the water, the bullet hole is like on his shoulder.
Yeah, the bullet hole moves.
You know, I don't know.
It's very clearly supposed to be a heart shot.
Yeah.
And then he used the cosmic cube to move where the bullet wound is.
I guess that's what he did. That's the only explanation that's other than just like poor comic creating.
Yeah, not. Do you know what I called this when I was writing up my review? This is the Chewbacca moment.
Oh yeah, from Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, this is the Chewbacca moment.
Well, I mean, at least as stupid as that was, at least it had an explanation.
It did, right?
Like, oh, it was just the wrong one. Oh, fuck you, movie.
Oh, God. Yeah, she blew up the wrong transport of the one of one we saw. Got it.
She blew up another transport full of prisoners, but who cares who the fuck they were, right? Like, as long as it wasn't Chewbacca.
Well, that was Kylo's transport from Canada. She goes to another school. You haven't met her.
Yeah, so then you get this another moment of like, oh, everything is failing. God damn it. God damn it. You know, then the thing crashes into the dome and it doesn't work either.
Nope. But
then Carol gets another ugly ass face.
So bad. Stop drawing Carol this way. Stop it. Naughty. She looks like she's 60.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I understand her looking kind of worn out in this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, like, what the fuck is Iron Fist doing up there? What's he doing?
Being Iron Fist? So,
but why is he up there in space where there's aliens and they're fighting it? Like, what was the point of him being there? He doesn't fight aliens in space.
Earth. No, because he's.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Right, my bad. Yeah, you're completely
They're just
right.
cutting back and forth between everyone now, but there's no transition.
This does seem kind of all
and
over
like he's in both panels, so it looks like he's like that they're in the same place because it's bad. Yeah. The art is just like poorly laid out.
Yep. Oh, but look, he's back. He's not dead. Carol gets to look a little bit less ugly for this one,
right?
Because it's like you can tell he you know, Admiral Kincaid, she looks okay, I guess, but like, and even Carol looks a little bit better here. So like sometimes it's just when he wants to draw her looking distraught or forlorn or whatever, it's like, oh god,
she really like, yeah.
Oh, then Maria Hill does some Maria Hill shit.
Yep. Does more shit than she's done in the MCU.
Well, I mean, I don't know, Michael, that's the case. I don't know that this is. I mean, maybe the artist. It could be a stylistic thing with the art, but it also could be that this that has several kind of signs of being rushed. And that would be editorial's fault over anything.
Julia, my advice to you would be if you've got a tablet or something to get Comixology or Marvel Unlimited. They both have subscription services where you can pay like, I think Marvel Unlimited is like $11 a month. And you can just read all the Marvel comics you want that are like more than a few months old.
That's true. Deadpool does get his starts to get his redemption here.
Starts to get his redemption here. Yeah. So yeah, I would
that fell for the Cap stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But that was like he was brand new to being respected. by
Right,
somebody.
he'd been respected for half an hour on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and it was Captain America, so it's like, of course, he's going to be a little naive to sudden hydrification.
Right.
Yeah, she just fucking, she's got to deal with the old Blackout here. He's, you know, at first, whenever I was reading it, even though I'd already read it, she comes in and it's a guy sitting alone in a house or whatever, and she's like, "Hey, Bob," and I'm like, "Century? Oh no!"
That would be hilarious, though, right? Like, the only way to beat crazy retcons is with crazier retcons.
Yep. Yeah, Deadpool did kill Coulson. That did happen.
And that's how you get the whole what was it? They did another Heroes Reborn where like Blade is the only one who remembers the universe is fucked up. And
I just read that recently. It's pretty fun.
It's all right.
It's a good way for Marvel to kind of take some digs at the Justice League.
Yes. We're gonna do
it's
Squadron Supreme. Let's dig the Justice League.
It's basically like, you know, here's why the Avengers is better in a you know, way that, like, I don't know that I agree with some of the ways that they depict them as being accurate to Justice League, but it is kind of fun anyway.
It is funny, yeah.
Yeah, fucking Maria Hill. She's ultimately the one that gets it done.
Yep.
You know, she got a good line there too. Good morning, New York, after she fucking shoots him.
Yep.
You know, and nobody, I don't know if anybody ever knows that that's what happened. Like, you know, I think they probably think that it was the other things that were going on, right?
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, because Maria Hill's not the sort of character who would ever like, oh, it was me. She'll just like go back into the shadows and do spy shit.
She shows up and she's like, "Look, guys," and she got it on her cell phone where she blasted him. Like, I
did a selfie.
You know, there's old Fisk. He knows that, you know, his day in the sun is coming.
Yep.
And then there's a shot in the shoulder, Sam.
Right. We have
as they call
teleported
it.
the bullet wound.
Your continuity. Whoa.
Damn. Welcome, continuity.
So, yep. Then we get to the, you know, the big damn heroes moments coming up. Namor, he turns out, oh look, he's got Bucky. He's got himself a Bucky. Yeah. Let's see, like that's a variant, and it's not very exciting.
No. It's not. The Hulk one is, though. We talk about that Hulk variant. Just about to fucking smash.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Oh, both of those are you. Cool. Yeah. Good stuff. Number 9. I thought we were already, man. It
goes and goes and goes.
And then now remember everything. Good old memory, Steve. Seeing T'Challa kind of laid low is never exciting.
Never fun.
But you just know that whenever it's done, he's going to be fucking somebody up. So that's kind of good. Get the spread here. Again, even though it's like not the same artist, this is Lionel Francis Yu, but like the coloring is just so muted.
Yeah, it's better. Once again, can't draw Carol's face.
Weird.
A character who should have been in this more rogue, just because she's a mainstay of the Uncanny Avengers.
Yep.
So like, it'd be nice to see some more rogue. We've got a Spooder Man.
Yeah, there he is. He shows up. I don't even know where he's been.
Probably in New York. There's like our 2 panels of Magneto in the whole book.
But he does kind of fuck up.
He does fuck some shit up.
I mean, at least they used him well.
Right. If you're going to use Magneto for 2 panels.
You know, Spencer was smart enough to go, look, I don't have a lot I can do with Magneto, but I do need someone who really hates fascists and has cool powers, maybe controlling metal, to take down a ship.
Right.
So that's the guy. and then some more fighting and whatnot. You got Old Man Logan here. I forgot about that.
So did I. The other one I forgot, I think it was on the last page, was Red Hulk.
Oh yeah, which was not, I believe, Thunderbolt Ross at this time.
Really?
It might have been, but there was another guy that was Red Hulk.
I did not know we had two Red Hulks. Like, I know we had Red Hulk and Red She-Hulk.
The other guy is basically the same thing as Ross, except he doesn't have the kind of crazy hard-on against the Hulk. He's just kind of like a straight-up military guy.
Oh, okay.
I forget his name, but he really is kind of... it wasn't Ross at this time? Yeah, I think so.
Like, he figures into the rest of the story, not at all. This is his first appearance. So I'm just like, oh, there's a Red Hulk.
Yep. Yeah, Thor, finally says, yeah, I'm gonna do the right thing that's been itching at me this whole time, and I should have done it. But I kind of, I give it a pass. Not even a pass. I think it makes sense because his self-esteem was shit. So it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't have the confidence to necessarily, like, he doesn't believe in himself to make the right decision, even though he kind of feels that it's wrong.
Right.
But he's
he
also
does
like,
some trust issues.
when I haven't known where to look or what to do, I look to Steve Rogers. So, By the way, I saw somebody say earlier that Steve Rogers is the best strategist in like all of comics, I think. They said. I don't know if like Scott Summers is fucking underrated.
Yeah, and I'm a noted Scott Summers hater.
He even recent Scott Summers, he's been awesome.
He has come a long way.
He's not like a stick in the mud anymore. He's like says some cool stuff, and
fun. Like the last few years of X-Men, the whole Krakoa age has like changed every character I didn't like into someone I love.
True.
Like Dakin. Ask me 6 years ago what I thought of Dakin, and I'm like, I don't know, give that fucker a swirly. Hate that guy. And now I'm like, fuck yeah, he's in fucking Alpha Flight now.
Yeah.
He's still with Aurora, and I'm like, oh sweet, that's so cute.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, there's I wish I remember what issue it was that I think it was when Scott and Emma went to the Savage Land for like a vacation, maybe, or something like that. That seems to be what I'm remembering. And it's like what's her name? Shanna and Kazar and are there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I think it's Emma is explaining that basically, like it showed. There's this sequence that shows Scott doing some just crazy cool strategy stuff. It's like he's like, I think they're just kind of having a competition, him and Kazar or something like that.
Sure.
But like it lays out exactly how he thinks about stuff and all that. And it's like, holy shit! You never really think about Scott Summers being that fucking calculating with his strategy, but he really is. I mean, are there other ones?
I don't know. Not that I'm aware of.
Versions? Yeah, I think that's just the only one. All right, then we get
Taskmaster and Black Ant like, nah, we're fucking done. Time to grab the bag and go.
Well, I mean, it is kind of funny that like when they hear the boom, it's like, yeah, I know that boom. That's the we're gonna lose boom.
It's a great line.
It's true. I mean, although I would say that I don't think the boom would be the same boom as it normally is because he doesn't have Mjolnir. But
I mean, when like they say in what is it, Thor Ragnarok? Like, are you the god of hammers? Or you're the god of thunder. Like, thunder gonna thunder.
Who's Tackmaster? Don't know.
He's really good at like putting up the things in the board so you can tie red strings to it.
Oh, look, it's Devil Dinosaur. Oh, no, sorry. Gone now. There's just one panel.
One panel. One dino panel.
And like, I don't know anything about her characterization, so I mean, that seems like kind of weird for her, a little girl to say, but okay. I'll take it, I guess. Does she normally talk like that? I don't know.
I don't really know.
I mean, I figured she'd say something about the dinosaur eating people, maybe, or something like that. But talking
just
about
punching. Well, the dinosaur is nice to just crush them, which it's fine.
Was in the other attached books. Yeah, I figured most of these characters were.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One day, maybe I'll hunt them down and read them all again as I'm reading this and try and do it in order and stuff. But
well, I mean, gods, I don't know that I could do that. I have I only have so much time, and there's so many X-Men books to read.
True. Yeah, X-Men takes up a lot of my interest.
Yeah, these days X-Men is so good.
And you get Jane comes out and punches Scarlet Witch one good time before she cancers out.
Right, before she's like, "Oh no, the cancer!"
The one thing that can defeat me, the cancer. Excuse me. I don't know that I like this way that T'Challa's got like a literal cat mask going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not great. No, not a fan.
Weird. Kind of weird. Then you get Sharon.
I like this scene. This scene is actually pretty funny.
And she doesn't look 70. She looks more like 45.
Right. Like this is like what I expected her to look like throughout the rest of the series. Like, oh, at the end she looks like what I expected.
Yeah, then you get this whole thing, which look, I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for it. Like once he gets this armor on, and I know it's fucking kind of corny and ridiculous, but like he gets Cosmic Cube put in his armor, in his little scarf there, and he basically becomes a god. Good shit. So his mother is actually it's Gaia. That was, I think, decided eventually. I don't know that was what the plan was originally. I think they did want to maybe make it be the Phoenix. Did they decide? Fuck, I don't remember. I'm with you. I don't know anymore.
This is the prehistoric Avengers thing where it's like Odin and the Phoenix and yeah.
Actually, it is the Phoenix because he did have to access the Phoenix powers, I think, at one point to fight the fucking multiversal masters of evil or whatever they were.
Sure. I believe you.
And then we see him seeing what has happened here, and he's like, "Oh man, that's a trip. That sucks." I'm gonna lay down for a while. That's pretty rough.
I need a nap.
Well, I mean, I followed up on that stuff just through mostly fucking Avengers. And then we get this art again. Cool. I guess. Wait, is that Sorrentino art or no?
I have lost track at this point.
No, that's you. That is Lionel Francis Yu. And I didn't realize that the arc reactor thing in his chest was so big there. So
it is large all of a sudden because it's not that large in several of the other panels. I don't think it's just something very large.
I do like how they're all fighting and T'Challa comes running out and he's just like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like
it is time to boogie.
But it's too late because the man's here, and he's ascended God Captain America. What are you gonna do?
The full power Steve-ul.
That's a good ass cover. I don't know. I don't know that I love the color scheme, but I do like the armor. So
I don't. You know what? I think the biggest distraction I have from the Captain Hydra armor is the lines on his pants.
Oh, yeah.
Because they look like they're like straps to hold up his boots in some of the panels, and I'm like, do you got a thing going on there? You need some help, or
I think that they do that type of thing in modern comics and stuff now because they don't want it to look like tights. So like if you give it a little piping
a little
or
flare, yeah.
or like a I guess some trim there, then yeah, it doesn't look like he's just wearing some tights.
What's wrong with tights?
I don't know.
Some
Apparently
leggings? It's comfy.
They're not cool anymore, I guess.
I disagree.
It's good angle of Thor right here. You can see up his nose and stuff.
Oh yeah, get some Urgold or whatever.
It's like, guys, Hydra Cap's right there. It's not time to take a nap. Jesus.
Spidey sleepy.
You know, and I like that he's like kind of
what is his face? What is his face?
It's skin and bones and
it looks so bad.
I don't know. I don't think it looks bad. I think it's just not how I think Steve Rogers looks.
In the first one on the left there, his nostrils are different sizes and his nose looks like it was broken seconds ago.
It's just an angle thing.
Oh, it's a bad angle thing. Now I say this, I want everyone to know I cannot draw a stick figure. I cannot draw two lines at a right angle. I am the worst artist on this planet. So when I criticize art, I'm being a hypocrite. I want you all to know that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's better than most people who nitpick art would ever admit. Look, Amadeus Cho's hair is looking really good here.
It is some fly hair.
Wait, did him and Carol do each other's hair the same?
They did. They got the gel out and everything. Little cleanup. I like it. Here for it.
You know, I just think it's funny how he, you know, in the previous page he's like, stand the fuck down, and then he's like, hey guys, how's it going?
Hey guys.
What are you up to? Doing a little insurrection type thing against me? Cool. You know, and then yeah, as Lucifer said, it's Clint's turn to say the line. So he says it, you know.
We get Storm. We got a Storm sighting. So anyone's on Storm watch.
And we get apparently T'Challa has changed the mask.
Changed his mask. Well, you know.
He heard what I said.
Like, is that young Jean there? Is young Jean still around?
Yes. No. Wait, at this point, yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's still young Jean. Okay, yeah.
Yes. That was still young Jean. She was you know, they're not around anymore.
No, they've gone back.
Except they're also still here.
Right.
Because they had all those experiences. I don't know if you read Extermination, but it's pretty good. It's kind of a convoluted way to get things in the position, like all the characters where you want them to be again, and kind of get rid of this whole original 5 situation. But it works, and the way that they resolved it, of like, okay, they all go back. They don't remember anything about their experiences that they had in the future. But then once they age up into a certain point, then they do remember all of it.
Right. It all catches back up.
Yeah.
It's like once they catch up with themselves when they left, they remember everything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a bunch of time travel-y, timey-wimey stuff. You got Ahab and young Cable. That's where he shows up and kills old Cable.
Kills old Cable, yeah.
Yep. Well, but then eventually old Cable shows up and kills young Cable, so.
Right. Well, because like young Cable wants him to replace him, doesn't he? Was that whole like he fucked something up? I don't remember. I
don't remember.
It was. I love Cable, but like keeping Cable straight is hard.
Yeah. It's kind of part of the fun. Oh, by the way, if you haven't read Children of the Vault so far,
it's so good.
Fun. Just him and Bishop, because like the last thing, and I just read it not long ago, time that I know that they really had any serious interaction was Messiah Complex, and then the runs after that
where they hate each other,
where Bishop is literally chasing him through the future
to kill Hope.
Yeah. And it's just like there's a couple of moments, I think, in the first issue of Vault where, you know, something is kind of mentioned about it. It's
right. They sort of they hang a lampshade on it, and like they're great together. Just Children of the Atom or Children of the Vault is really good.
It's kind of crazy that this is the first time that they've ever just been like paired together
in their own book with kind of just them, and like it's It's so badass. And like, have you read the most recent one yet?
Number 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, where Bishop's questioning the guy and you find out he's not really there and there's a fucking nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh shit.
Yeah. Good stuff. And I don't even know I don't think I've read anything by that writer before, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And then I think the next issue is the one where on the cover they've just got 90s guns out the ass.
It's just gone. Well, at the end of the book is because Bishop went to the because everyone hid something at the mansion.
Yeah.
So he goes to the mansion and gets all of the guns. Every gun in every Rob Liefeld book, Bishop and Cable now have.
Yep.
All of them.
Should be fun. This is where it's kind of like, holy shit. This was one of the moments where I started taking it seriously again after kind of like being a little bit checked out.
Yeah.
Was what happens next, because it's like, oh, fuck. Because he literally just like wipes them out of existence.
Just the retcon canon.
And yeah, that's a crazy timeline that we're seeing would have played out there. You got executed mutants. Look, I think that's Professor Xavier and Magneto.
Yeah.
The Fantastic Four, including
led by Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
You don't see Mr. Fantastic at all.
The Avengers look more or less the same.
Only Iron Man has the big Hydra logo, and Thor's shoulder clasps have the Hydra logo.
And it looks like Peter Parker does probably, I guess, become Spider-Man, but it's like forced on him by Arnim Zola.
Yeah.
And he's also a Hitler Youth. So cool. That's a pretty good picture. I like that.
It's very evocative. Like, this is one of those things, like you talk about a picture being worth 1,000 words. This is, if the comic was this good half the time, it'd be great.
Yep. And then he literally, remakes the world in his image and shit. This is okay. So this is definitely one of the fucking highlights. Mad respect for Nick Spencer for doing this.
Yes.
This calling to mind Infinity Gauntlet because that's the moment as a kid that like I realized Captain America wasn't just some lame ass in a flag.
Right.
Like I was an X-Men fan, the Avengers didn't really care much about them or anything. And I definitely thought Captain America was kind of lame. And then I read Infinity Gauntlet and was like, wait, he doesn't even really have any powers. What is he doing? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, he knows he's going to fucking die. He's just doing it.
He's just doing it. He's in it to win it.
And yeah, so to call on that and kind of mirror that with Sam, it's good shit.
Yep. And then we get this.
Yeah. And then it does go back and kind of explain how the whole plan was all planned and stuff.
Right.
But
I think the previous page is important to let you know that like something is up, right? That there is a plan, because you have this callback to Thanos and stuff. Like, there is more going on than it seems. Like, they wouldn't reference that if this wasn't going to be a heroic moment.
What was there a plan in this? That I don't remember what happened. I think he just dies.
I think he just dies too, but like
everybody else, pretty much. Isn't it? Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. I guess I don't see how I would have. I don't think I knew that there was some specific plan at play at this point. Honestly, of course, there was the moment that Bucky was like, you guys need a plan, but that was really all that was said of it.
Yeah. I think that you put that there to like set up that something is about to go down.
Sure. I see. I guess I'm seeing it more as like just characterization moment of like,
sure,
this is like Lucifer Sam. It's Sam's moment.
Yeah. That's fair.
But I mean, I definitely don't think you're wrong in your read.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just get to the good shit. Let's get to the money shot. You get the plan. It's actually Scott redeeming himself, Bucky, doing his thing. They're shrinking, doing some shrinkage, stealing the cube kind of thing, and giving it to Sam. I think is what the plan was, right? Or giving him. Was that what it was?
It's getting Bucky to it to make the wish.
Okay, yeah. Steve. Hey, look, Steve. Get the fuck out of there. We need you to not be just a memory anymore. That's pretty cool. I like this. It's good shit.
It's great.
Kobik comes back, and he realizes, oh shit, I've been bamboozled.
Bamboozled again.
And I think the next page is the page. I think it's the page. I think. Oh fuck. Yeah. Well, it's not but it's the start of, like, it's almost all worth it for me, honestly. Just like
it comes together at the end real well.
To see him, he pops out of there. He's in his fucking classic costume, and he's just like ready to pound his fucking head in.
Yeah, I'm going to adjust your attitude.
Good shit. So yeah, that shield doesn't belong to you. Says, try and take it from me then. Okay. Oh no, yeah.
Getting the classic Civil War shot once again for the second time in this book or in this series.
Yeah. Why not?
Don't call it a comeback.
And yeah, I don't know. I guess this new old Cap, he's well rested or something. I don't know.
He's been napping, right? Like,
true. Just that's pretty good fight scene.
It's a very good fight scene.
It's the most kinetic a fight scene has looked in several issues, I guess.
Several issues. I think since like the Pimptron issue.
Probably, yeah. Oh, more fighting. Cool. I'm down with it.
And everybody was Captain Fighting.
See, this all makes sense. I can follow this, Sorrentino.
Yes.
Take some notes.
Yeah, please and thank you. It's the Fist Dodgers game because you're getting hit.
Another kind of callback to Civil War with Shield breaking his fucking helmet open.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, damn, he headbutts Cap with his helmet. That's rough.
Oof.
He's gonna get concussed. Yeah, then there's this and the hammer's inscription, which we now see was different.
Yep.
Changes back. I do like that he's like, here, let me try.
That is a great Captain America line.
Yeah, Steve Rogers, and that's what I think they got right a lot with Chris Evans in the MCU, is that he has a way of saying a line that's like both kind of naive and innocent, and also just kind of like a fuck you at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he can deliver the cheesiest lines in the most like appropriate way that just like elevates the whole thing.
So yeah, here's where, like, honestly, the whole people getting upset about him lifting the hammer, and this is the reveal. Like, guys,
it's fine.
Wait until a story plays out before you
Yeah.
decide to get mad at stuff. Is all, because you can't get mad at it for doing a trick like this, because these types of narrative devices are good to keep us guessing and to keep us kind of tense and like, oh fuck, what is happening? You kind of feel
yeah. But it's also thematic for the story too, because like what does fascism do? It rewrites mythologies, and literally here we have a mythical weapon rewritten, and once it's fixed, oh, who can lift it? Well, not you, motherfucker.
Well, and
not a fascist.
To be even more specific, fascists tend to co-opt Norse mythology.
Yes, they do.
So, yeah. And Robotters is right. We see Steve will just kind of cracking under pressure. Like when he doesn't have the comfort of like knowing that he's got the playing field in his favor, he starts panicking.
Right.
And it's like, that's something that the real Steve wouldn't do.
Yep.
like, yeah, he would not. If he tried to lift the hammer and he couldn't, he'd be like, "Oh, okay, whatever. Well, let's get back to fighting with our fists then, or something." But yeah, then we get the money shot. Fucking worth it. Love it. One of the best fucking fascist smash shots in comics.
Boom! Finally, some good motion lines.
Fucking fantastic. Flawless fucking image, in my opinion. Like,
oh yeah,
just completely shatters out of his fucking dumb armor.
How to handle fascists in one comics page.
I mean, I think this is probably the #2 Captain America smashing a fascist shot in the history of Captain America comics.
You might be right.
After the first,
because you can't beat the original.
Can't do it. Yeah, I mean, the reason I think they couldn't do it is just limited time to really explore it in a way that's worth it.
Yeah, like this story doesn't make it entirely coherent in 11 issues. I don't know that you can do it in 2 hours.
Yeah. Just fucking face first. Good shit. Good shit. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And then the vanishing point happens. So you know what happened there, right, Morgan? When
Remind me.
When they did Generations. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, in Star Trek Generations.
No.
No. Okay. I'm really low.
Wait. It goes to the Generations comic one shots, right?
Oh no, I did not read those.
So they're generally pretty good, from what I remember. All of the legacy heroes, and also I guess who all vanishes. Yeah, all the legacy heroes disappear seemingly for just a moment here, but like what actually happens for them is that they visit the original heroes at different points in time and kind of get some time to spend with them. Like Jane whenever Thor was much younger. Right. When
Okay. I did not understand what was going on here. I'm like, through the vanish. Yeah. I'm like, I was not sure what was actually going on, like what this was a reference to. I was like, is this?
Yeah. And then Amadeus goes to visit Bruce back when he was like on the run and shit, and kind of sees how desperate his life was for a long time and shit. They get context from the heroes that they are taking up a mantle from, right?
Right, it makes sense.
Miles actually goes back to when I remember Peter was like really sad. I don't remember exactly what it was, but like Peter was like a teenager. He was super fucking, everything was going really badly for him whenever Miles goes
after Gwen dies.
I think it was right after that. I think it was. So yeah, and like just seeing Miles comforting young Peter and shit, and like kind of giving him some hope is pretty cool.
That is very rad. Nice big team shot.
Oh look, we got a new Patriot over here.
Yep. Iron Fist just like photobombing in the background there. Creepy, I helped, guys. I'm Iron Fist.
Wait a second. I thought AI Tony Stark died.
No.
Okay.
He was just held captive. That's when he's like, he doesn't die. Yeah, I don't think he dies.
Okay. Rick Jones should, until they find something that they can do with Rick Jones that like lasts a while, because Rick Jones's curse has always been that he's used as a plot device kind of thing. He's a character, everybody knows who he is, but he's not like one that people are going to get super bummed out about if they kill him off or turn him into an abomination or whatever the fuck.
Or make him trade places with Captain Marvel in like a hell dimension.
All right, so there it is.
That's
But wait, there's more. You get the follow up as you were talking about earlier, where and I don't know, is it the same neighbors that are helping him clean
I
up.
don't know, but it's like none of these people except for Barf and his brother have existed before, and so like.
Wait, what do you mean they have existed before?
Well, they weren't like in the story at all. Like,
Oh.
we don't really know any of these people, so it's just like they show up to help, and who are they, and who vandalized this? I don't know.
I mean, it could easily be seen, I suppose, if you wanted to look at it a way that makes some more sense, is the people that graffitied the house were maybe some roving fascists going through neighborhoods, and then,
Right.
And then the neighbors were too scared to help them at the time, and now the neighbors are like, oh, it's safe to go out and help our neighbors.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know.
But it's like I wish there was like a little more thought into this scene.
True. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of an afterthought. Get another Mark Brooks classic there. I don't know. I don't love the facial.
I don't either.
Shape. It's kind of odd. This is probably maybe my favorite, other than the Pimtron issue.
See, this wasn't on when I read it on Marvel Unlimited. This wasn't like in the main book.
Oh, have you not read this?
So no, this is something I have not seen before.
Oh God, no! This is fucking. I kind of feel like this is necessary reading.
Okay, so
yeah, so cool. I'm glad I see Jacob hasn't read it either. I'm excited for you guys to experience some of this. So you get this guy, some guy in a hood there, and he is talking about the country healing, regaining what it's lost, rebuilding. So why am I here? It's called Shadow Pillar, a black site prison many miles off American soil. It's housed some of the most wanted men in the world, international terrorists, perpetrators of genocide, despots. But these days, all of its cells are empty, except one. Today, Shadow Pillar is the prison with the sole occupant, me. On the other side of this door is another version of myself, a man who took my place and used it to commit unspeakable acts of evil. He terrorized the country I've sworn to protect and betrayed every last one of its most cherished ideals. All this he did in my name, wearing my face. So what am I doing here? I wish I knew. And then, and this actually, I think the art does work pretty okay for this issue, the Sorrentino art, just because it's not an action-heavy issue, or I don't think it's really any action. It's just a conversation between two Steves.
When did he get the Hydra tattoo?
I think he had it. He had a shirt off in one of the first issues, and he had.
Okay, I must have just missed that.
Yeah. Cool fucking shot right there, I think.
It really is.
Of course, he isn't surprised. How could he be? He's me and I'm him. Coming here is gazing into a mirror and hating what I see. So this is like our first time back with actual Steve, and kind of him processing all this shit. And I really feel like that if some of this stuff that's talked about in this issue had been expressed better throughout the event, it would have just been fucking way better. But yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff. Like, I know you didn't come here to gloat. It's an advantage of knowing exactly how you think. So yeah, it's just kind of creepy in a way, some of the stuff that he says, and it's kind of, especially given our current, context, some of this shit is. So he says, same way you didn't come here to try to kill me, even if for a very big part of you wants to. But that's the real difference between you and I, isn't it? You were never willing to do what was necessary. And then Steve says, what's necessary is for you to rot in this cell until you stand trial for your crimes. And he says, right, my trial. You know they're having some problems with that, considering I didn't commit any crimes. You people keep talking like I came to power by force. I didn't. You gave it to me. Your Congress passed the SHIELD Act, the law that said in the event of an emergency, the director of SHIELD could take absolute control of your country if you asked them to. And you did. I happened to be the director of SHIELD at the time. Now, that wasn't a job I campaigned for or sought. I was asked to do it. They asked me because they couldn't find anyone else that could be trusted. That's how mired in corruption and incompetence the organization had become. I didn't build the planetary defense shield. Maria Hill and Carol Danvers did. I didn't cause the mess in Pleasant Hill or allow the Red Skull's perverted version of Hydra to recruit so many so easily. So whatever I may have done in the violation of any laws leading up to that, well, that SHIELD Act authority you gave me included the power to pardon. I made sure to use that power for myself and everyone in Hydra that still stands.
He gave himself a preemptive pardon. Oh my God.
I'm seeing that coming up in the news about Trump again, that like that might actually kind of be something we have to deal with to some degree.
He's going to argue he preemptive. Yeah, he wrote it in his mind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't create any of the conditions. You did. You warped and twisted your warped and twisted ideology that venerates fear and weakness above all else. You might blame me for exploiting it, but everything I did with your consent, your encouragement even.
Woo.
Kind of hits a little close to home.
Big, you know? Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Like this isn't even beginning to take responsibility. He takes responsibility in the Ta-Nehisi Coates run after this.
That's where he like traveling the country.
Mm-hmm. And it's a really good one. Like, you know, having that's why like people, it's often chuds. They kind of repeat this kind of thing. They're like, oh, once the run ends, they just start over. And it's like, not really.
No.
Like, I mean, you get Steve Rogers back and it starts a new storyline, but the storyline is from, covered in the effects of this. Like, he's still having to earn trust and shit. People still don't fucking trust him. Right. It says something about that in here too. So he says these so-called laws were never put in place to protect anyone you didn't want protected. But I don't have a lot of comforts these days, so demonstrating that hypocrisy is something I'll take. These laws aren't worth the paper they're printed on. It's just about them having power. And the good soldiers they deceive into helping them keep it. Steve says, I'll live with that. If it means seeing you pay for all you've done. You can dress up whatever authority you had however you like. It's what you did that I care about. You leveled a city. You tortured and imprisoned thousands. You killed people I cared about very much. Jack Flagg, Rick Jones, Natasha Romanoff. And you get a little funeral scene where Clint's not having a good time of it. And Luke and Logan have to kind of steady him. And then, see, this is what I'm talking about, from Omega, that seemed like they were saying that she was still alive somehow. You got Bucky saying, I watched your funeral on television. It aired live, even here in Madripoor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I hadn't read this.
Whoops. I watched the man who loves you get carried out of that church. And I thought about how that used to be me. But I'm not here to remember that or to mourn. I'm here to get the truth. And as soon as I see it, I know. All the rumors about all the whispers, they checked out. And then there's this, obviously kind of a fucking greedy, authoritarian dickhead military ruler.
Because it's Madripoor, and of course there is.
Yeah. And, somebody takes him out, and he says, I know it's you. And, like, who was this then? Was this the clone? Is that what they're...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens after this, so I guess that's... Because now we're back to Steve's Roger.
Yep. He says, I'm sorry for your losses. I truly am. You probably don't believe this, but I really didn't want anyone to get hurt. I went to Rick's cell, begged him to do the right thing. Hell, even to just make it look like he would do the right thing. He says he's like you. He's too blinded by the lies your whole world is built on. That's the problem, isn't it? You want to blame someone for the fact that those good people are gone now. Blame yourself. I was going to bring them all back. With all of them, with the cosmic cube. I was going to make everything right. I even saw it for a moment, the truth. The world that was, restored, renewed. So like he is actually buying his own shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of fascists are like this.
Yeah, they they buy it, right? Like, you don't do that unless you believe it.
Yep. Yeah, it's bizarre to imagine that somebody can have such a fucking just false view of things, but they do. Some people do.
Well, and here in comic book world, right? Like, he has that false view because a magic item created it, right? It literally spun his whole everything out of thin air. But when you take that into our world, there is a whole ecosystem that does that, and it's not magic; it's just propaganda.
Yeah, it's some kind of social psychology situation effect.
Yuppers.
Yeah. So yeah, he says it's not so easy to put everything back where it was, and that's a really cool panel. I like that a lot. Good page. Then you get New Tian, where this is where Emma and Hank kind of like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we had our own country like for longer than a minute?
Right.
So yeah, I think it's really cool. Kind of little. Obviously, they weren't planning it at that point, but it's still, in hindsight, a good little tee up for Krakoa.
Well, and maybe because they're working sort of in advance on sort of their long-term plots, right? Like, I feel like
in 2017, no, because I've learned a bit about Hickman's setup. Like, he started writing that about a year and a half before it started being published, which I guess could technically maybe overlap with this a little bit, but I doubt it. I just feel like yeah,
inspiration from this, that like, oh, what if they had their own?
So Lucifer says I should read the last line. So let's see. I told them that Sentinels were in poor taste, but they insisted. So there's Sentinels, doing some shit.
Woof.
Security concerns. Hank, still Ambassador McCoy for now, Emma. New Tian's negotiated surrender is not yet complete. So you're saying there's still time to declare war. Given that the U.S. government is back to full strength and all of the Avengers have returned from space or what have you, even with S.H.I.E.L.D. dissolved, you don't like the odds. It's funny. I told Steve Rogers no mutant would kneel. Clearly, I only meant to Hydra. He says the world is celebrating. They've defeated an overthrown fascist rule. They don't seem to understand that mutants always live under it. Not always.
Ooh.
You should be proud, Emma. For however long it lasted, New Tian was the homeland mutants have dreamt of. All built on a lie. Perhaps, but an inspiring one. A glimpse of what we could have. What we could be. For a generation of mutants, you've given them a map to someplace better. I have to believe there's something of worth in that. Something history will smile upon. Good shit. Yeah.
It's it really feels like the seeds. I feel like talking about seeds in Krakoa is kind of funny, given how all the plants everything is sort of plant based. But yeah, this feels like it had either a hand in leading to, or a hand in inspiring, or a little of both.
Well, I mean, that's not what happens though in the comics. He doesn't make them more villain than superhero.
No, they are
not at all. I mean, it kind of seems like a take I've seen a little bit since the Krakoa thing, where like I've seen people saying that like, oh, they're more like villains now or something. It's like,
I don't think so. Like, they're certainly more detached from humanity, and that we see how that affects them. But I think in some ways that like having that separation gives some of them a chance to heal and sort of go from more non-heroic characters of some stripe or another to more heroic.
I think what they're saying is that that people, it's kind of like it honestly kind of seems like a bias thing of like, this is not, they've taken some power for themselves, and they're not they're kind of upending the status quo, and they're kind of like they're not knowing their place. It's kind
right.
of what that
they've Yeah.
Not
So
that
I
they're
will agree
villains,
that
just
the Quiet Council on the regular gets up to some shit, but
sure, but so does like our government. You know what I
right,
mean?
exactly. It's a government. Governments are shady.
And generally, they do some shady things. They make some shady choices, but and those typically come back to bite them in the ass. But overall, the overall kind of like philosophy of Krakoa is good, I believe.
Yeah.
They just do some kind of shady stuff to do it. But then also, whenever some of them take it too far, like Hank McCoy, you know, they get the snit.
Right. They get the or they get the deep dark hole.
It. I mean, it hasn't. It's deepened his character, and what it's done. What Hydra Cap did in hindsight was it made Captain America confront a very real fucking problem with a superhero who is wearing a flag, an American flag.
Right.
Because as we know, that flag doesn't mean great things for some people historically.
A lot of people.
And that's kind of the same thing as what like Falcon and Winter Soldier did, which was had a conversation about what this shit means and should it even exist. And if it does, it needs to live up to, its ideals better. It needs to, find new ways to be, I guess an inspiration to people and be an inspiration to people that it hasn't been in the past, so on. And I think that's what, like in Uncanny Avengers right now, in the first issue, you get Captain America showing up and basically just telling Psylocke, hey, if you got to kill some fascists, kill some fascists. I'm not going to stop you.
I'm not here to stop you. Basically, go off, Queen. It's a great moment.
This is the first time that they've had a nation that also had an economy, is the thing.
Right.
Like, where they not just some piece of land where they're still kind of like, they don't have much power. They just have land. In this, they literally become,
a player, like a global player in the economy, besides just like having their own chunk of dirt.
I mean, in a lot of ways, they become the global player, like more, influence than anybody else. But
all right, well, we're gonna fall down the Krakoa hole again, so we should get moving.
Always down the Krakoa hole. Krakoa hole. See Beast down. Sabretooth down there, I'm sure. Yeah, so the more good stuff right here. He says, so just use the cosmic cube to change everything, resurrect everyone, but alter them, make them loyal to you. He says to Hydra. He says, that's not really life at all, is it then? No free will. Your own history subverted and corrupted. I speak from some experience. That isn't what happened. Hydra had won the war. The Allies used the cube to change that, to create all this. You are all the ones who have been turned. You can't possibly believe that. It was all an invention of Kobik. He says, you say chicken, I say egg, but that's not your problem. I'll go to my grave believing that the reality I grew up in, the reality I fought for, is the true one. You know that. No, your problem is I'm not the only one who believes it. This is Hydra's heart now. You see the knowledge of the world that was, and how our rightful reign was denied to us twice. For everyone who says Hail Hydra, it's no longer going to be about taking over the world. It's going to be about taking it back.
That's some lost cause shit right there.
Well, and it's also some, I've seen some Take America Back Trump 2024 merchandise and shit.
Samesies.
He says, let them try then. Do you have any idea how many ideologies Hydra has cycled through? How many of their leaders have promised one grand revolution or another? Most all of them ended up in cells just like this one. Or dead, like the Red Skull. I certainly hope you're not expecting a thank you. For doing what? for doing what? What you wouldn't? The endless game you played with people's lives, letting monsters like Schmidt run wild. That's what should put you in one of these cells, the weakness of it. And that reminds me of like people who believe that Batman should just be killing people. That
right.
It's like an ideological split that I don't know how to reach somebody like that, because you're basically trying to reach a completely different set of morals almost, or like,
well, yeah, it's a whole different cognitive framework at that point.
You claim to be protecting this country from what? Over and over again, the same threats bear their ugly heads because you won't bloody your hands. Then others, seeing how it's tolerated, follow their example. Chaos multiplies. Meanwhile, you lead a band of arrogant, out-of-touch sycophants in masks and appoint yourselves the purveyors of justice. But when will you be held accountable? Or, let's see. Yeah, got it. Kind of got mixed up where I was reading there. Jesus.
Well, it's Steve yelling at Steve.
Yeah, no, I've just like my eyes kind of fucking blurred for a minute, and I like ended up looking at the wrong speech bubble. And who will be the man to do it? You got a Hydra guy here. Cut off one limb, 2 more will take its place. Cut off 1 limb, 2 more. Says that's enough. And then he blasts him. Hey, look who's back. Frank's back.
Someone's learned his lesson.
Yeah. He says, I've made plenty of mistakes in this life, too many to count. This here might be the worst of them, though. I was tricked, manipulated by the one man I thought I could trust. Now it's time to make things right. And then you get Nick Fury Jr. here.
Yep.
I don't know what this led to. I don't know if I ever. He says he's ready. What was he ready for? Anybody know?
The dinner special at TGI Fridays, or
I would suggest reading Omega if you get a chance. Just it's worth it. This is definitely the one issue where the art fits it really well. It's just a conversation. The color scheme kind of works. Although some of the where's your lips at, Cat?
They vanished.
Good shit. But
indeed.
All right, so we're probably not going to have time to go over the other stuff. That's okay.
Well, I think we could do a whole episode on Tulsi Gabbard, to be honest, about just like propagandists, but
and we should.
This Russell Brand thing, like I don't know who he is, but you put something spicy in the title, so I feel like we have some spice to pay off on.
All right. Well, but first, I do want to. This is kind of an important thing here. What happens? What Real Cap says.
Sure.
It says it was during the cleanup after the Battle of Washington. I came across a little boy trapped in the rubble. I reached out to him, and he flinched, pulled away.
Oof.
He was afraid of me, and I realized this would be my life now. That even though the world had seen us fight, even with Stark's company spending millions explaining what happened to me, on some level, this would always be there. There'd always be a scar.
Well, yeah,
So that's, as I know, Julia, you had asked what does it do? That's what it does.
Right.
It matters. It like I'd said last night when I laid out that I believe that Captain America is a superhero embodiment of the better ideals of the U.S. and trying to live up to those. It doesn't always work out. He's not always been able to do that. And he's also limited by the country in which he exists as well. But and he's also limited by the people. He can only change things that people want to change. But in that regard, we have a fucking fascism problem in this country. And I think that having Captain America have a bit of that, kind of wrapped up in him, it takes some of the illusion away. And I guess maybe that's part of what upsets some people about it.
Right.
That, they want to see Captain America as no, he's incorruptible and shit like that. And it's but America's not incorruptible.
Right. Well, and I think Captain America as a symbol of America is corruptible. And that's even been done in stories where Steve isn't Captain America and has been a corrupt dickbag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
or Ultimate Captain Marvel, who is a piece of shit.
I think it's important to have Captain America and people who look up to him even and see him as a whether it's in the story in the narrative they see him as a hero or you're somebody who just appreciates the character. I think it's good to have a reminder that we can't just take it for granted. You know what I mean?
Right.
We can't, and that's what I think a lot of people have done that led to Trump in some ways. Just took for granted that, like, hey, things are going to work out. You know, they kind of generally do for you if you're white and straight, and you know what I mean.
Right.
But yeah.
But
God,
someone's always going to go, well, I know where you were, right? I know what you look like.
Is Steve Rogers Captain America irredeemable? I don't know what that means. Like, Steve Rogers Captain America didn't do anything the way that it's presented here. We're not talking about the character in as much as like the mantle being what's corrupted.
Right.
And you can, in the same way that, like, yes, the U.S. Abolished slavery, unless you want to count the 14th Amendment, but generally the U.S. abolished slavery, but we're never going to be redeemed for fucking being a slave built country, and we never should be. We should always remember that.
Right. It's,
you know what I mean?
Well, okay. I think even like more simplistically than that, like talking about symbols of America, right? If someone with a pickup truck and two big American flags off the back flying by goes buzzing down the road, that, for me at least, that like something is wrong there. Like I flinch. I'm wary of whoever that is, right? Like, because the sort of people who fly that symbol that way, you know, and the American flag can be flown in lots of contexts, but like in that context, that symbol is now one like, oh, that's probably a person who wouldn't accept me.
Yeah. So you're asking questions, Julia, that like this is, you know, for one thing, redemption is, you have to ask, in whose eyes?
Right.
Like, I mean, it seems like generally comic book readers and Hal Jordan himself, you know, to some extent, and the other heroes feel that he's been redeemed. You know, of course, in the comic, there's the whole thing that he was actually possessed by the entity Parallax, right?
Right.
You know.
Well, and at the end of the day, when it comes to any problem with a Green Lantern ever, the irredeemable one is the Guardians.
True.
Because it is always their fault, because they're always fuckos.
But I mean, what do you mean by redeemable or irredeemable? Like, can you define what you mean by that? Because
what would redemption look like in your eyes?
Yeah. There's the redemption in an individual, which, you know, an individual decides that for themselves, and nobody can, you know, no matter what. It's kind of like asking forgiveness of someone whenever you've done something wrong. Like, you can't be too upset if they decide to never forgive you, depending on what the thing is, right? Like, that's their fucking choice.
Right.
You know, you kind of just, that's why you ask for forgiveness. You put that in their hands, and if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. But like, and it's kind of the same thing with redemption. And so on an individual level, it's just everybody decides that for themselves. But as you know, then it gets kind of abstract when you start talking about redeemable in society's eyes, right? Or whatever. Because like, how do you measure that?
There's not really a good public consciousness is kind of the closest, and that's even still subjective. That's just sort of like how much we're willing to put up with it. And then, like we talked about earlier with Hank Pym, like, dude has a reputation in comics, and his portrayals are pretty marginalized these days. But there's characters like this, for instance, right? Where like Captain America and this story by the end is a negative reputation, but you know, the Tatsahani Coates run starts right after this, and that's a pretty well received run, unless you're from that side of the internet.
Well, you know what? I can get a little bit personal with it without getting specific, and explain that, like, I used to be a person who I am not proud of when I think back on it, right? Like, and in a lot of ways, I feel like the rest of my life, I will be working to redeem myself in my own eyes, right? Like, and I think that that's probably, you know, maybe a little bit too hard on myself sometimes. I don't know, but like, when it comes to the people that I feel like I let down, they seem, you know, I guess they seem seems like they're cool with me. You know what I mean? So like, or generally, the ones that I still have in my life and want in my life. Like, so, I don't know. You know, I think it's really just kind of a personal thing to aspire to, and you have to decide when is enough. And I don't know that I'll ever decide that, okay, I've redeemed myself enough for myself, right? Like I'm just gonna keep trying and trying and trying to do better and better and better, because I never ever want to get close to, you know, getting back to where I was years ago. Even though I don't even know if it's possible to do that. But anyway, so like do you pretend that that what terrible thing that had done never happened? No, you never. No. That's absurd. Honestly, like,
no,
no.
I think you can go, yeah, you know, Hal Jordan. I don't like injustice, just like the evil Superman thing is a played out trope. That particular take on an evil Superman is just not very good in my eyes. So I'm just gonna kind of go like, I don't know that character that well. But for Hal Jordan, like, shit went tits up with that guy, and at the influence of another creature, he was made to do something, and you know he's been shown to wrestle with that, and that he has that weakness in him. So like, but he's done other, you know, he wasn't always a great guy before. That's the whole like Green Lantern, Green Arrow team up book, is like Green Lantern, like Hal Jordan has some issues, right? He's not always been a great person. It's more about,
I mean, shit, he was conservative, you know?
Right, yeah. Like he's a cop.
But I mean,
ACAB includes Green Lanterns. That's my hot take for the stream. And I like Green Lantern a lot. But
Lucifer makes a sobering, important point here that, like, when we're talking about this kind of thing, it's
Right.
fine to think about redemption in a kind of abstract sense when you're talking about superheroes. But if you're like literally comparing it to real life situations, that's not gonna work out too well, and it's kind of like not healthy to
Right.
really do that too much.
I also think that when we're talking about something like redemption, there's so many different perceptions of what redemption means, because I think for a lot of people there's a cultural supernatural view of like, is your soul redeemed? Like I'm not going to speak for Dane, but like I don't believe in a soul. I don't think I have a soul. I think I am a product of the biochemical systems in my body that makes words come out and thoughts happen, and it's very fun and I enjoy it for the most part.
Yeah, we're just a sack of water and farts.
Right. I'm just a meat robot, running some very sketchy programming. But if I fuck up, I can do better. And then, you know, I've done wrong by people in my past, and I can make it up to them, and it's up to them what they do about it. But one way or the other, I want to do better for the next person. Like, that's all you can do. Nothing really matters. It matters to me, right? Like,
Yeah, that's I don't even know how you take that, Julia. Like, I don't know. I feel like you're kind of, I don't know, like latching onto certain things and not really absorbing everything we're saying. Yeah. So that kind of sucks. But like, no, I don't think anybody who is worth a shit would ever ask anybody to forget bad things that have happened to you. In fact, I mean, shit, if you watch my content, I talk about trauma therapy and shit like that. It's not about stuffing it down or setting it aside and forgetting it. It's learning to live with it. And, you know, if possible, you know, finding ways to grow and kind of like, you know.
So, yeah, I've got an example. So like, and I've talked about her on the show before. So like, my grandma and I are on the outs for COVID related reasons. And I haven't exactly forgiven her for that. And we don't really talk, but recently my father was in the hospital, and I called her and talked to her and told her what was going on and told her where to go and how to find him. And I met her and I was there to support her. I don't have to forgive her. I don't have to see her as redeemed to be a good person and to work with her if it's to both our benefits.
True.
Like, because we're all a mixed bag.
So I think that a good way to look at it, if we want to compare as close to superheroes as we might be able to,
sure,
is if we think about a celebrity or artist or something that you respected, and then turns out they did something shitty. There's quite a few of those. You based on depending on what the thing that they did was, depending on how they followed up on that, depending on how you feel, how comfortable you feel, like. It really comes down to a question of ethics, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's no tangible way to practice redemption or not. It's like, we're literally what we do. Our actions. Right. That's all we are. Everything we do or don't do.
Try and be better the next day. Right. Like we can't change the past. We have to own it and move on as best we can and try and do better. Yep. But we should get back on topic.
Fuck yeah, we should.
I am wrangling.
So apparently the next page is really good. The next spread. Oh, there's more talking. But it's good talking. I do remember that. So, but I'll leave this for you to experience yourself. Just know that this and the Pimtron issue are like both the best issues of it, with two very different flavors.
Right. Yeah. This is very much different than that. And this is a lot more talky, but it looks very good. And what you've shown so far, I look forward to curling up next to my spouse while they play more Pokemon and reading this.
The reason, if I think about it real quick, the reason I think that this is such a great issue and conversation is because it's a back and forth between the optimism and the realism of America and the conditions of it, right? Like
it's like if Captain Kirk and Mirror Universe Captain Kirk got to just like have a conversation. We're like, they're fundamentally the same person in a lot of ways, but their like motivations and goals are so radically different that like it's interesting to see the mirror, right? To see both sides of the mirror at once. And it works really well in comics where you can use the coloring and the art to show it all at once.
I will say this, Julia, you apologize way too much, and please don't apologize for that. I'm just something I point out to my girlfriends, something I taught myself a few years ago that
I still have to like stop apologizing, but sorry, we have to move on.
Sorry. Oh, that's really cool. Page 2.
Woof.
But the one thing that's really I do want to show is, so Steve, regular Steve, classic. He kind of like the alarm goes off. So eventually, I guess somebody realizes that Cap broke in here. He does say some cool shit here. He says, I want to warn you, don't ever leave this cell, because if you show your face in my country again, I'll be there ready and waiting. Doesn't matter what face you wear. I know what you are. I've been fighting you my entire life. And that's what's up. Like, he doesn't give a shit that he looks like him. He is fascism.
Right.
Then the guards come in to get things under control, and this one whispers in his ear.
Yep.
Yikes.
Because those who work forces are the same who burn crosses.
True. This is a war that never ends. And I think that's, probably the best takeaway that you can take from it, is that, like, there's not going to be a point when we get the country to like, oh, look, we got all the fascism out of us and it's behind us now. We don't have to think about it. Nope. Gonna have to keep an eye out on for that shit. Anyway. Yeah. So Russell Brand, you don't know who that is at all? Or
I've heard the name, but like I no idea.
Okay, so Russell Brand is a piece of shit, and I would have said this before the rape allegations.
Okay, so before the rape allegations, he was already a piece of shit. Like, what flavor of piece of shit?
So he was a MTV, I think, UK VJ at one point for a little while or something. That's kind of how he first, he was like a model and a comedian or actor wannabe, and he wasn't very successful, and then he ended up being on MTV a bit. And then he kind of, I think, from what I remember, pretty quickly got bad off into heroin and shit.
That's a ride.
and he came onto my radar because I happened to see a movie. Girlfriend wanted to go see a movie, and we went and saw it. He was in the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, was really his big breakout. He was kind of a tertiary character in that. But that character was then spun off into another movie called Get Him to the Greek. And that has Jonah Hill in it, and he's like this fucking, kind of somewhat washed up rock star, and Jonah Hill is kind of I guess he's like a publicist or something, and he's got or his record label attaché or whatever. Jonah Hill's got to get him to the Greek, it's like getting him to this to the Greek theater to do a big comeback performance type thing, and kind of save his career. But the guy is a fucking wreck, and like at every step of the way, he's trying to throw everything off the rails, and Jonah Hill has to keep it on the rails. And it's fine. It's fine.
Sounds
movie.
like an okay movie.
And then after that, because it did pretty well, that movie, they, as Roboters is pointing out, then they and Jacob, they decided to give him the remake to Arthur, the movie Arthur, which I'd never seen the original, but apparently it's well liked and stuff. And the remake is apparently a dog shit.
Woof.
So yeah. But nonetheless, he basically, I say he's an actor. He just is himself in everything.
Right.
And if you've never seen him, we can take a look.
Archface said he was in Death on the Nile, and I've seen that, and I'm like, I have no idea who he even was in the movie.
I don't even know what that is.
It's Agatha. It's an adaptation of an Agatha Christie book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's got like a pretty big cast because it's a mystery. So you've got a big cast in the movie. So like, there's a lot of people in the movie. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Gal Gadot's in it.
You know what? Right here, I've got a timeline of the fucker's whole fucking career. So 2000, comedy beginnings and addiction. Launched stand-up comedy career. He makes his debut in Edinburgh Fringe. So yeah, then he starts making a TV presenting debut as a video journalist for MTV. Goes on to host music shows.
Fringe is kicked out of the Gideon Ballroom for provoking an audience member. Okay. Okay.
He's a lightning rod for bullshit because he's kind of a fucking he's a character for sure.
Sure.
And now a rapist character it's clear that he's a rapist. So then he's fired from MTV in September.
Whoa! Holy shit!
Coming to work dressed as Osama bin Laden the day after 9/11. Yikes!
Holy fucking shit!
Yikes. Like, come on, read the fucking room.
So he is a shock jock.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, pretty much that. He said he was on cocaine and heroin at the time.
Okay, but I've known people on cocaine and heroin who aren't cosplaying as Osama bin Laden right after 9/11.
He's the more the whole accusations come to light and everything, it starts to paint a picture in my mind of probably a fucking narcissistic, like diagnosable narcissistic kind of guy. And who likes attention, no matter what it, thinks he's owed things. That's the kind of mentality that gets you rapists.
It is.
So then rebrand. He stars in his own show, investigating subjects seen as taboo.
I can already see where this is going.
He performs a sexual act with a gay man in a pub toilet. Cool, that sounds fun.
Sure. Yeah, have fun. Like, what's like? I'm just like, that's. I don't care. Okay, you did some naughty. Yeah. Okay.
This quote in hindsight, he says, "I didn't really enjoy it. My tendencies and inclinations toward women are very, very powerful. I like them very much. It's just a biological urge." Yikes! Yikeroonies, man.
That's gonna go places.
Yeah. So then he has to get sober. Found using heroin in the bathroom at Christmas party. Career rise. Gets a big break as a host of Big Brother. Blah, blah, blah. Does, some reality show crap. And then
this is what he looks like. This is a picture of the...
sorry. That's him, yeah.
Talking about Hydra, what is that hair?
This is basically what he looked like for several years. Now he's we'll see, I'm sure, but like he still wears an open shirt. He's still got long hair. It just doesn't stick up anymore, really. He's more of a woo-woo spiritual, like but not specifically. Like he vaguely kind of gestured to that. He boosted ivermectin as a thing.
Okay. So yeah, he is.
Yeah, he defended Joe Rogan taking ivermectin and all that shit. He's basically like he definitely made a calculated move on YouTube to kind of occupy a similar space as Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, just kind of like, I'm just your regular old centrist liberal guy, but all my opinions just happen to be like, fuck the Democrats, and Trump's pretty all right. He's not so bad.
Here's my far right vaccine denial. I am a centrist.
Yep. Exactly.
Making Pimtron look sane. You know who didn't tell us to take ivermectin? Pimtron.
He's also got a very fucking annoying personality. Like he can be funny in certain contexts, but like it seems like he's never off. You know what I mean? Like he's always on.
Yeah.
Like that he's just constantly speaking at 2 volume levels too high at least. And he's very he uses a lot of hand gestures, like in your face type gestures. It's kind of upsetting. There he is with probably at least one of those women he raped. Sorry, that's probably a little not off color. I shouldn't say that.
Smidgen dark.
Well, I mean, but apparently he was doing it so much that's what I'm saying. Like,
wow. Okay, so you are not joking.
No. So he's been credibly accused of 4, but like there's discussion of the fact that he's basically was maybe like a Weinstein level kind of offender of like, it was an open secret in the comedy scene that like everybody fucking knew that this guy was raping women essentially. There's just the 4 that they got a bunch of evidence gathered for, as far as I can tell so far. Then there's forgetting Sarah Marshall. There he is. He's kind of the annoying douchebag boyfriend of the ex-girlfriend of the main character.
And there's a cameo by a rape apologist, Mila Kunis.
True. Yeah. Well, look at them. They belong together.
That's yeah. That'll be next week's show.
I mean, 100%, Roboters. It's not casting stuff. I didn't mean to imply that the context is exactly the same. Just that he had been doing it a lot,
and it was a open secret
for quite some time. Yeah. So then he did the VMAs or something. See, like, I don't know. I don't want to say that rape has a face, but
but if it did,
Okay. So there's a whole thing where he apparently had sex with this guy's granddaughter or something, and it's a whole controversy. Then he married Katy Perry for like a minute, I think.
Katy Perry made a bad decision.
Yeah, she sure did. He met her while she was filming a cut cameo from Get Him to the Greek.
Met at the VMAs in September, went on my vacation and got married by the end of the year.
Got deported from Japan. That's fun, like what?
Arrested in LA. I mean, who hasn't been arrested in LA?
I mean, me, but
me neither. I've never been to LA. Been to California, just not there.
He filed for divorce from her. Wow. That's not the way I would have expected that to go based on.
Well, it sounds like once the divorce proceedings were over, Katy Perry comes out with her own version of the story.
So he threw a paparazzi person's phone through a window of a law firm. So that's stupid.
Yeah, like, God, I almost get that because the paparazzi are shitheads too. So like, I'm gonna give them a pass, other than like throwing it into the window, right? Like throw it into the garbage or wherever. Like, but it gets like half a pass on that one. Parliamentary committee. Okay, so
this was the period that I remember seeing some stuff, like some interviews with him, when I actually kind of liked him for a minute, because he was doing a lot of compassion for addicts.
Sure.
Talk. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's like he's using his celebrity, he's getting sober, he's using his experience and his celebrity to kind of advocate. That's cool.
Yeah, that's like, this is genuinely a good thing.
So, whole thing of apparently, Katy Perry finally comes out and says that being married to him was basically fucking insane. I believe it.
Yeah.
So, Brand attends the Hugo Boss sponsored GQ Awards on 3rd September, where he receives the Oracle Prize, whatever that is. In his acceptance speech, he brings up Hugo Boss's former business creating uniforms for the Gestapo. They did look fucking fantastic, let's face it, Brand said of the Nazis before
they threw him out
around the stage.
Yeah, no one remind Hugo Boss he was a Nazi.
I kind of like that move, actually.
As a power move, for sure. Like, I would say looking fucking fantastic. Like, you don't need to say that.
That's unnecessary, but yeah, they're reminding them, sure, fuck it.
Yeah, dunk on Hugo Boss. Absolutely.
Gotta keep them, it's like we're talking about redemption. Like, okay, maybe people are still willing to give them money, but we got to let them know that we don't fucking forget,
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Okay, so, he's an accelerationist. That's not good. We got to talk about that on the show sometime soon.
We do, yeah.
People vote, just like Morgan's PSA. Vote. Check your local elections. They matter. Your local elections matter more to you than you can possibly realize. And no one votes in them, so your vote counts like 4 or 5 times as much as it normally does. Like, you really should go out and vote your local elections. Even if you're in a conservative podunk. Almost especially if you're there, because that actually really has an impact.
McLeod, this is actually fucking spot on, honestly. That's really... Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like this guy. From what I've heard 5 minutes
so then
in.
He gets into more modern times. He gets into YouTube. The True News with Russell Brand.
I almost did a spit take with that name. Oh, that's miserable.
Yeah, he's doing the John. He's doing the good to see you. By the way, been a while. He's doing the whole thing where it's like he's appealing to the right. Like, that's what that is. It's like, basically, hey, look at they're trying to cancel me because I'm an alternative media guy, and I tell you the truth when they don't want you to know the truth. It's the same grift that goes on on the right generally these days.
Well, and that sort of like have sympathy for me. I definitely didn't rape those people, despite all the evidence. There's a lot of non-far right people who fall for that. Like our whole culture is kind of set up to like.
Right. Yeah. That's that's the problem with this guy is that why I wanted to cover him is not because he's a conservative darling. It's because he is a centrist, even liberal kind of people like him.
Right. But like, he's just shitty. He's just a shitty person.
Well, as
even
we get
before
into
we
right
get
here,
to what's going to go on. Yeah.
He made 200 videos in his first year. Over the next 9 years, his YouTube channel would go on to be criticized increasingly for platforming conspiracy theories. Then on Newsnight in October, he sat down with an interviewer, talked about 9/11 conspiracy theories. And when asked if he thought it was orchestrated by the U.S. government, we have to remain open-minded to that kind of possibility. No, we really don't. I mean, like,
so this was so. It's funny because you played the clip from the Matt Dillahunty Jordan Peterson debate yesterday, and so after the show, I put that on the whole debate because it's a fascinating debate. But one of the things that Peterson rails. He has a weird definition of skepticism, which is basically accept everything except what is inconvenient to me. When you sort of boil down what he's actually talking about, like
that is a very revealing debate about how his mind works, because you kind of get an idea of how he justifies believing and saying some of the dumb shit that he does.
Right. This reminds me of that, because it's like we have to remain open-minded to that possibility, but not all of the evidence that says that's not what happened. Like, we can't remain open-minded to the evidence, but we have to remain open-minded to the conspiracy.
Where's that? That had a thing that had said some cool stuff. It was like something about the most harmful idea that's been, become really popular in the last several years is, just the idea that we have to hear everyone out and all the sides out about things, right? Like,
right.
And it is, I've seen that as a YouTuber. I've seen it over and over again in my comment section where people are like, well, but you haven't heard, you're not even listening to the other. And it's like, first of all, these people assume that I haven't already done that, looked into that. And I have. Typically, if I'm talking about something, I've kind of looked a good bit into it. But like the idea that just because someone has something to say or an idea that it should be given equal weight is, it's kind of stupid. That's how you end up with a fucking stupid populace. Honestly, you end up with a world that has the understanding of climate change and the understanding of what's going to happen if we don't do anything about it, and we don't do anything about it.
We don't do anything about it, right? Yeah, we got to hear out both sides over and over and over again, despite. You know what? You know who's really a big pioneer of that is the tobacco industry.
True.
So this is your daily reminder to hate the tobacco industry, I guess. All right, so we can move on to 2015, where nothing bad politically started at all.
Right. Further political involvement, I guess. Well, he must have been the only.
I wanna. Before I look, I'm gonna look away. He's a Brexit supporter. All right, continue.
Let's see. So
3 days before the election, he recanted previous statements on voting title and ended the danger of the Conservative Party. Brand implored viewers to vote Labour. He himself does not vote as he was not registered. Why are you...
Cool guy shit.
Cool.
Right there.
Yeah, that's cool guy shit.
Over the next several years, he continued to produce content for YouTube, released a documentary.
I guess I was wrong. He didn't have any like Brexit takes. I'm gonna look that up now, and I wanna like verify that I'm wrong.
He condemned his own life of vacuous celebrity over clips of him and Katy Perry walking through an airport. In the documentary, he also blames Perry's apparent disinterest in his quest to save the world on their divorce. Yikes. So maybe a little bit of delusions of grandeur. And then, we start getting into how he looks and talks and what he says nowadays. Marries somebody.
Marries some other person.
They have children.
Woof.
This is what he was, there he is.
Oh my God. My dude.
He reinvented himself as an outspoken YouTube personality, amassing over 5 million followers. He has a shitload.
That you look like, you know what he looks like? What I think Republican Jesus looks like.
Yeah.
Just the scowl, the long hair, the torn up shirt, the chains, like this is Republican Jesus, ladies and gentlemen. Others.
So yeah, I did hear about that. That Bobert's boyfriend, they were fondling each other at the Beetlejuice performance. He apparently is part owner of a gay bar that hosts drag events.
She's a hypocrite. What's new?
I mean, it's not new.
I hate to be like, oh wow, a conservative politician's a hypocrite. What? I don't care. Like, I don't want to slut shame her for her and her boyfriend being horny.
Shame her till the fucking end of the world, though.
What's up?
I will hypocrisy shame her till the end of the world.
That's fair. like, yeah, she's a hypocrite and she knows it, and she should go to the nearest wood chipper and spend some time in it. But yeah, I was so nonplussed by this.
Here's where he becomes a severe piece of shit in my mind. And of course, by this time he'd already raped several women, but I didn't know this. But like,
right, this is where we all realized he was a complete.
So in
asswipe,
September 2021, he shares information guiding fans on how to circumvent COVID-19 safety measures. Musk defended him on Twitter, writing, with so many mainstream media companies saying at Rusty Rockets is crazy dangerous, I watched some of his videos. Ironically, he seemed more balanced and insightful than those condemning him. The groupthink among major media companies is more troubling. There should be more dissent. See, and this is the idea that there just should be dissent.
There should just be dissent. Yeah, sometimes we can't just have the answer. Well, especially like, okay, let's be perfectly honest here. Musk isn't, or at the time of this story, right, in 2021, Musk isn't trying to promote COVID skepticism because he's a crazy person. He's doing it because COVID restrictions have impacted his ability to manufacture Teslas.
Also,
it's all about the bottom line to that guy.
Mm-hmm. And it's also because the privilege as well, because he's not affected by, you know, like he's not going to have to go near a mass of people or anything like that. Like he's fucking rich. So then 2022 is where he kind of lets the mask slip a little bit more. A video is removed due to medical misinformation. He moved his channel to the platform Rumble.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
And launched a series titled Stay Free, as in, hey, conservatives, I'm with you now.
For those who don't know, Rumble is one of the like alt-right alternatives to YouTube. It's the Christian rock of YouTube.
Yep. Then 2023, serious criminal allegations. So following speculation surrounding a mysterious Channel 4 dispatches investigation about an unnamed figure, Brand shares a video to his YouTube channel on Friday. He claims serious criminal allegations linked to his promiscuous past are about to be made public and absolutely refutes them, but does not declare their content. On Saturday, the allegations against him are made public. He's accused of rape, sexual assaults, and emotionally abusing 4 women between 2006 and 2013, while he was a presenter for BBC Radio 2 and Channel. The allegations include the assault of a 16-year-old girl.
So he's a PDF file too. I was like, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've read a few more of the details a little bit. Like you can see the 16-year-old girl who's now an adult woman.
Yeah.
But she's talked a bit about like she was in the taxi on the way to his house the first time, and the taxi driver apparently had already driven a woman there and kind of knew what happened there. And so he was like begging her to let him take her back home. And, like he was just like, I got a daughter your age. And he's like, basically panicking. And she's like, in hindsight, I wish I would have listened to him. You know what I mean? And that's fucking terrifying to think about. Like,
oh my God. I want nothing good to happen to this person ever again.
I don't think much good is going to happen to him. I mean, I don't know. It's because from what I saw of the allegations, it's like the people, the journalists that kind of, got this information together, I guess, and stuff, like there's a shitload of evidence against him in these 4 cases. Like they got all 4 of the people on, one of them actually did get get a rape crisis kit done, which is,
yeah.
It's tragically not done every time because, for various reasons, a lot of times it's just women don't know what to do or they don't feel safe doing it or whatever. And but thankfully, one of them at least did get one done. So there is probably seemingly some physical evidence.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of times, even if they get a rape kit done, it's not processed correctly.
Right.
Or not processed at all because often those.
The backlog is absurd in this country.
The backlog is absurd. It's easy to contaminate them.
Yep.
There is a segment of our criminal justice system that doesn't look at sex crimes as real crimes.
Well, yeah, whenever you've got, the right generally kind of like seems to think that, well, a lot of them anyway, seem to think that there's no such thing as a rape of your wife. I've seen that being argued before.
That's the Steven Crowder argument.
And Prager, Dennis Prager.
And Dennis Prager, yeah.
I've seen women making that argument.
I have too, and I'm quizzling behavior.
Yep. So, fuck this guy. Fuck him for, hurting. I have a strong feeling that these 4 women are not the end of it. Even if that's the end of the things he's held accountable for.
Right.
But yeah.
I wish that was the end of it, but these stories never are. Because it's, and this is one of the things, like I've had some experiences with Whisper networks before. And this is always the hard thing about them is like, it makes it harder to come forward when there's a Whisper network, right? Like if I warn a friend that someone is a sex pest, but I don't warn somebody else because I never get the opportunity, or I think they're too close to whoever the person is, and something does happen to them, well, I could have let them know. I just didn't have the ability to do so safely because we cover these people so much. Like the society protects them in a lot of ways. It'll make excuses for them, and if you out them, then you're the bad guy, or you're making the accusation unfounded. It's but once the dam breaks, then more people usually end up coming forward.
Yes. So here's the thing that's interesting. So a lot of comedians actually did go on record and with backing up allegations, but only there's several comedians that did, because a lot of this stuff was, like I said, well known in the comedy circles.
Yeah.
But only one comedian was willing to do it not anonymously. As in, like, they're all scared of retaliation and how, I guess, maybe he's connected something. He's a pretty powerful guy, I suppose, which is weird.
Right.
But Daniel Sloss is the only one who's willing to come out with his face and his name and say, yep. So,
well, and it's especially when you're like, you knew about it and you don't come forward, like.
And he did. He's been telling a story in his stand-up for quite a while. That he wouldn't say the name or anything, but he would say that he knew of a guy and that was doing stuff, and he didn't do it. He didn't say anything, and then it happened to like his best friend. Like his best friend got raped by that guy, and so he talks about now how like that's his fucking fault, and he will never be silent again.
Right.
And and that's fucking brutal, but it's also, look, it's I guess you want to talk about redemption, right? Like he fucked up in a way that
we're bringing what we talked about in the episode into the real present, as it were.
Is he redeeming himself by making sure to never keep silent again? I don't know. I mean, it's never gonna take away the pain that was caused because he was silent before.
He will do the right thing because he hurts in some ways, right?
Yeah.
And that's that he's going to have to live with that, right? Like, what do you do?
So, and he is like I said, the one guy out of several comedians that was just like, yeah, this is who I am. I'll say it publicly. I don't give a fuck. So yeah, there was a WhatsApp groups where they could tell each other which comedians or agents to avoid. And I know for many years, women have been warning each other about Russell, he said.
Yeah.
Yikeroonies.
Well, and it's obviously we don't have the full timeline, but a guy who's a sex pest and kind of is like liberal-ish, turns, far right, and turns out to be a sex pest is not a new story.
Right. I mean, that there's Musk, like there's some kind of, interplay between him trying to appeal to the left and failing miserably. And then also, he started becoming way more vocal and like, I'm going to take over Twitter around the time that the whole, hey, will you fuck me for a horse allegations came out.
Yep. Well, and he's got a trans daughter he's not a fan of, and he blames, a whole host of things we've talked about on this show for that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So, like, he's on the ball, I guess, playing the greatest hits. And he's a billionaire, right? He's a business. He's. I don't want to call him a businessman because I don't think he's actually a businessman. He doesn't run a business.
No, he has people on payroll that run business.
Right. He pays people to run a business and claims all the credit because he's a capitalist. But those people are sort of inherently going to end up that way in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, God. More women come forward to accuse Russell Brand after sex allegations as BBC launches urgent probe. Channel 4 pulls shows with Netflix urged to follow. So he had shows, I guess, in the works or something. And
yeah, Netflix won't pull those shows. Probably not. Like Netflix is fucking scummy.
Broadcasters C4 and the BBC are looking to separate allegations of predatory behavior towards staff and audience members while working for them. So, like, there's
that's a
so
failure
many...
of your company, right? That's a failure of your company that you didn't protect your employees.
Well, and Sloss said that in his thing too. He's like, basically, there were people in authority that should have done something to prevent this shit and didn't.
Right.
But I mean, just think about that. They're having to separate. Like, there's so many allegations that they're like, all right, let's put the ones that are employees over here and the ones that was like audience members over here. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just like fucking absurd.
It is absurd, but it's also one of the reasons they're doing that is because if he sexually assaults an audience member,
yeah,
that's on him. If he sexually assaults an employee, that's another story. Especially if they knew when they were covering it up. Right now, we're talking liability.
Oh, so the BBC is now facing urgent questions after it was claimed that Brand used his company-provided car service to pick up the girl from school, the 16-year-old.
Fuck off.
And then the fucking goddamn disgusting, twisted fucking, the same people that are always like, groomer, are defending this fucking guy.
You want to talk about grooming? A 48-year-old man was picking up a child from school to sexually abuse them in a system designed to protect that man. That's actual grooming. That's the real deal. Not, I look trans in a game store. Fuck. This is a happy note to end.
Yeah, that's a good time. Let's see if I have something funny or fun to end with.
Can we end on dick pics? We can see some dick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
it actually reminds me. I can tell this story. I can't show you the picture, but like, okay, so that email that DJ got that we looked at.
Yeah, I remember that email.
Well, that guy. I don't know if he had a really long list of people to email about Sound of Freedom and say things, but like, I guess I was at the bottom of it. He got to me finally. And it's just basically the same exact stuff, more or less. And then, except at the end, he kind of gave himself away because he said, I hope you post this on your Twitter. And I'm like, okay, I see. You want this to be a public thing. You want me to fucking publicize this email. Fuck you. I'm not going to do it then. But that's not what I said to him. What I said to him, I replied in an email and I said, you sound really insecure. You should try believing in yourself.
Aw.
I said, until you do, I'll believe in you. You know? And I said, you can do it.
I love that.
And then he wrote back a little while later, and he's just like amping up the threat aspect of it, because it was more like hoping stuff happened to me in the first email.
Wow.
In the second one, he started making more direct threats and shit. And it's like, he's like, oh, I'm not getting them yet. And then I just wrote back, hugs.
Oh, bro.
And then he wrote back one more time where he said something like, I'm gonna fucking rip your head off when I see you. And it just kind of started a I don't know, word association in my head. I was like, head, huh? And I went on Google and I found a picture of the biggest fucking cock that I could possibly find. Because he's calling me F slur and all kinds of shit. In there,
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Groomer and stuff. I said, well, okay, maybe he'll appreciate this. And I just slapped that fucker as an open attachment in the email, so you don't even have to open it to look at it. And then I sent it, and then I blocked him.
Boom. So the reason I mentioned the dick pics is you played it before the stream, the little clip of you and with you talking about Dick Grayson and how beautiful he is. So yeah. I am out at lunch with my spouse for my anniversary. 5-year anniversary. We're so excited. It's just a great day yesterday. I'm gonna cry. But for real. And because I have our work Discord for this show, I have it so it sends me a notification when something posts. So I open my phone and there is this clip of Dick Grayson, and I look at my spouse and I go, sweetie, Dane sent me dick pics on our anniversary.
Yes.
And that was after telling them that we had gotten married on Batman Day inadvertently, and that it was now a bad anniversary. So they were already done with Batman jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to I get sent the dick pics of Nightwing, and then it's just like they were done with me. But we had a great day anyways.
Yeah, it's a dick pic's not the same as a Batman pic, so it's all good.
Oh yeah.
For anybody
unlike Batman, Dick is a giving lover.
For anybody that didn't see that at the beginning of the stream, here you go. Uploading that now to do. It's going to be a drop. Official.
It's an official drop now.
Yeah, anytime we need to liven up the mood.
Yeah, it does
how is Dick Grayson? No matter who draws him, no matter like he's just the hottest. I'm not even gay, man. He's just fucking hot, right? Like I guess just being named Dick, you're gonna just carry that kind of swagger. I don't know what it is, man. He's just fucking sexy. Just saying, it's the glutes. It's the glutes, yeah. I mean, I'm not gay, but I'd be gay for Dick.
Dick Grayson is a very, very attractive man.
It just seems like all of the artists got together and were like, all right, so we're going to just make sure that he's sexy as fuck every time we draw him, right?
This guy is just a hunk.
It's like, no, anybody that ever depicts him as anything less than a 9, you're fired.
Right, yeah. That's why what's his name is fucking done. You made Dick Grayson a 7. You're going to have to go right wing comics now. Chuck Dixon. That's why is he made Dick Grayson look bad, and so that's the end of his career. That's the real reason.
I mean, being against Trump and Trumpism is not like the fucking that's the
bare minimum
lowest standard, and I don't think that we should be praising anybody or like giving them props for that. Being someone who pushes fucking anti-woke fucking vague bullshit the way that Mar does, he honestly, he might as well be a fucking Trump guy.
Well, okay. The election cycle is young. I have a feeling in my heart of this guy's paycheck is signed by David Zaslav hearts that he will, if not be actively don't vote for Biden, will be vote for Trump by next October.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
we'll see. Yeah, you can.
He definitely he's a boomer kind of guy that thinks he's still the cool young liberal that he once got to portray himself as. But yeah, he's just over the last 5, 6, 7 years. People
thought he was the shit, and now he is just shit.
I mean, that's cool, man. Like, Biden doesn't need to be defended against ageist attacks. Is he stopping people from doing that? Or is he just, I mean, because, like, what he needs to do is to defend, you know, queer people and people of color, marginalized people, by not fucking talking about wokeness as if it's some kind of real fucking problem. That's what he needs to do. Biden is going to fucking be fine whether or not he somebody defends him from ageist attacks. Be honest. You know, and yeah, he went on fucking PragerU, man.
Oh, fuck him! I did not know that.
It's
fuck. Like I have him. I have like the name muted in my like social media.
I used to watch real time because I liked the guests and the conversations with the guests.
The guests were the good part of the show.
Yep.
Yeah, he has never had any good like his. I will thank him for this. His takes on Islam made me realize that a lot of new atheists were in it to be Islamophobic and not in it because religion was bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of like I understand where some of those new atheists kind of diverged, because I don't know that I really almost went down that part of the path, but like when I was going through my open atheism and excited about being an atheist phase, I read some books. I read some Sam Harris and shit. I read some Christopher Hitchens, and there are definitely, some pretty fucking atrocious things to criticize in Islam. But the thing that they don't do is they don't compare that to the fact that there's a lot of atrocious shit in Christianity too, that it, like, because we just live in a Christian saturated fucking culture, it seems more normal. Right.
It was that people, not him specifically, but like people that talked like him would defend Christianity or Christian-centric countries doing the same thing that Islamic countries did. It's like, well, hold up. Where religion is bad, if it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard next week, Lucifer.
Oh, yeah. What did Tulsi do? Tulsi is, like, you don't even know. Don't look up anything, Lucifer. Please let me fucking reveal to you what's really going on with this woman, because holy shit, she is a bag of, like, what the fuck.
Yeah, like she gets crazier every time you learn about her. It's kind of interesting, but we are getting on to 3.5 hours.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta go. But I did want to say that Hitchens, I will say he had his problems.
Yeah.
He was pro fucking Iraq war for one thing. And he was definitely had some yikesy takes about Islam, but generally, I actually gained quite a bit of my how I developed my skepticism from Hitchens. I think that of course I went through my phase where I watched the Hitch slap videos, and like he's tearing down some fucking Christian with cool words and shit, and it's like, that's fun. I don't think that stuff's necessary. I think it's is kind of a phase that I got over. But like generally, he had a mode of thinking that I think, I don't know, I've benefited from in some ways, like not the things that he thought necessarily,
but how
but
he
the
thought
ways
them.
that
he of the four horsemen, he was the one who talked most about how we think.
Like just the way he would fucking rip into like Mother Teresa and like all the the people that take her for granted as being like some kind of actual good person. So who is well, come back next week, next Sunday. We'll feed you, baby bird.
Next Sunday we're gonna talk cults. Spoilers for next episode.
Oh wait, what did you say?
We're gonna talk about cults. We're gonna talk about Tulsi Gabbard and maybe a little Scientology.
Yeah. So cult week is next week. We do some touching on some cults here and there. This won't be the last time, I'm sure, but little Tulsi, little cult action. Those two things are related.
Yep.
So
spoilers.
Anyways, Gabbard is a non-issue. I mean, what does that mean, Ben? What does that mean?
If you have thoughts on that, you could fire off an email and we can address that next week. See what your non-issue is. But
I think that's a non-statement. How about that? Like, it doesn't tell me anything other than you don't want that to be talked about. So
that makes me want to talk about it. Now I want to talk about it more.
Yep. Anyways, you guys are awesome, all of you.
Yes.
She doesn't have any political pull. Okay, well, we'll learn about that.
Well, we're gonna learn about that. Yep.
I mean, we're talking about her. She was in the news. She was on Joe Rogan saying some crazy shit the other day, which is why I was wanting to talk about her in the first place. So, like, so she doesn't have any political pull as a Fox News contributor. Ben, are you okay, man? Like,
I got some bad news for you.
People watch Fox News, like, and she's also on Joe Rogan saying crazy Fox News shit on Joe Rogan, and he's agreeing with her and shit. Like, come on, man, don't be naive.
She's a propagandist.
You're trying too hard at this point. Is the point? Like, you chill the fuck out. Sorry. All right.
So next time, Tulsi Gabbard, you will hear about her. We'll talk about her all you want. If you're here, you can hear about it. We can discuss it more then.
Yeah.
Also, we're gonna talk about that old chestnut of American religiosity, Scientology.
Fun times. Fucking Scientology.
Fun times.
All right. Well,
so if you haven't, I have to do it. I have to like the video. Smash that like button like the Hulk. Share it as though it were anti-Hydra propaganda, which it is. We are very anti-Hydra here. And check out the Patreon, patreon.com/actualfandom.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good Patreon. You can follow me for free on there. But also you can follow me for not free if you want to, which is also pretty cool.
Lucifer's getting in the Hail Hydra before I can ban them at the end. Putting you on timeout anyways, Lucifer. You're on timeout.
They're in the Discord, so they're probably just gonna say something in there. But
that's fine. But I did say at the beginning that I was gonna be mean to anyone who's in a Hail Hydra in chat, so they got
consistency, just like Hydra.
Right. Wait, shit. No.
All right. Yeah, you guys have a good one. Scamley versus Stanley.
Yeah.
Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry.
Again, I don't know who your partner is. I don't know what kind of gay shit y'all got going on. Like, first of all, what type of gay ass shit? These fucking fruits, man, will sit here and they them, whatever he goes by, maybe. We offered this fucking fruit. But these fucking fruits, let me see if I can find his partner. I think we may be dealing with the rainbow, if you know what I mean. Talking about his partner, but I'm tired of getting fucking notifications from this fruit on my watch. All do us together. I'm like, nigga, y'all niggas is gay.